Clearly, I possess the ability to slay a great emperor with a single strike, yet I can only eliminate those of the common rank. Anyone even a level higher, and I am the one who gets slain in return. Thus, I keep my hands tucked in my pockets, projecting the air of a supreme expert, feigning a stance of superiority. Above the Emperor realm, I am unrivaled, and below the Emperor realm, you are not even worthy of my strike. Yet, as I step outside, I am truly terrified that one day some nameless nobody will pierce my heart with a stray arrow, for that would be a humiliating end indeed. To ensure that the world trembles the moment they hear the name Gu Changfeng, I periodically select a powerhouse of the Emperor realm to eliminate. Recently, I was preparing to issue a challenge to the illustrious Hanhai Emperor, when the Tianji Immortal Mansion was suddenly besieged by three great sacred lands. Xiao Po Jun, do you remember when you styled yourself as the #1 genius of the North Sea? Did you ever think that today this seat would see your Tianji Immortal Mansion completely erased from the celestial realms? Xiao Po Jun, battered and bruised, heard these words yet did not show a hint of fear. He led a group of elders and flew straight toward me, prostrating themselves at my feet. In his eyes, the patriarch of his sect had attained the Emperor realm 100 years ago, and dealing with these scoundrels at the Saint realm should be as easy as flipping one's hand, correct? But he could never have imagined that the true patriarch had long since been struck dead by lightning during his tribulation a century ago. I transmigrated to this world, becoming the new master of this body, now devoid of any cultivation. For the past 100 years, I have never dared to reveal the truth that I am a combat-incapable fraud, spending every day anchored to the Juxiao Cloud Terrace, painstakingly maintaining my facade. Today, I have finally awakened the ability to slay any great emperor. Yet you bastards have to go and provoke a group of Saint Realm cultivators on my behalf. You are clearly trying to get me killed. Even if I cannot defeat a single one of these people, my aura must not falter. What does it mean to be a great emperor? It means looking down upon everything, viewing all living beings as nothing more than ants upon the earth. Therefore, facing this multitude of peak stage Saint Realm powerhouses, I coldly forced two words through my teeth: do not retreat. As soon as the words left my lips, the powerhouses from the three great sacred lands were instantly forced back half a step. Even though for a century there have been rumors that the patriarch of Tianji Immortal Mansion had attained the Emperor realm, rumors are after all merely rumors. But hearing these words today and witnessing this imposing aura, it seems they were not deceived. At this moment, Zhao Tianheng, sect master of the Chixiao Divine Sect, stepped forward, banking on the fact that the Tianji Immortal Mansion could produce a great emperor. Is it possible that our Chixiao Divine Sect cannot summon our patriarch to manifest? As these words rang out, an old man arrived, flying through the sky while laughing manically. Ha ha ha, do you still remember me, the Chixiao old freak? First realm of the great emperor of raging fire. The emperor's aura erupted from his body, instantly suppressing Xiao Pojun and the elders until they could barely breathe. However, I possess the ability to instantly kill a great emperor. Naturally, I am immune to all damage from experts of the emperor realm. Thus, far from feeling fear, I found myself vaguely exhilarated. Why didn't you say so sooner? You have a great emperor realm expert, yet you worried me for nothing. Gu Changfeng, do you dare to come up here and fight me? Facing this provocation, the eyes of everyone in the Tianji Immortal Mansion turned toward me in unison, hoping I would intervene and lead them to victory. Nevertheless, I did not utter a single word. I believe that if one is going to make an impression, one must do it thoroughly. After all, my philosophy in life is that being cool is something that always accompanies me. Seeing that I did not respond, the Chixiao old freak roared once more. Coward, do you dare come up here and fight? To this, I responded with extreme disdain, uttering 5 words: you are not yet qualified. Upon hearing such an insult, the Chixiao old freak was not enraged. Instead, he sneered and said, to raise your Tianji Immortal Mansion, how could I come alone? Duetchen, it is time to reveal yourselves. In the blink of an eye, 2 powerful auras, heavy as the heavens and vast as the earth, swept toward us. I wondered, Taoist Gu, if you can still maintain your arrogance when facing the 3 of us together? Hearing this, my heart surged with wild joy. Everyone, keep your eyes on the screen. My moment of peak performance has arrived. Ding, main quest activated. Renowned in the North Sea. Accumulate over 100,000 reputation points within 6 months. Success unlocks the cultivation system. Failure results in a random penalty, reducing your lifespan by 10 years. At this moment, the 3 patriarchs saw that I did not move and assumed I had been intimidated by them. They turned to Xiaopjun and the other elders, mocking them as they spoke. If you are willing to surrender your souls and let us enslave you, you may be spared from certain death. Faced with the pressure from the 3 great emperor experts, a leading elder wavered. Sectmaster, forgive me. Immediately afterward, the 2nd and 3rd elders also bowed their heads in shame. Sectmaster, we feel the same. In that instant, half of Xiao Pojun's heart turned to ice. The heavenly immortal palace has treated you all with nothing but generosity, yet you are so cowardly and afraid of death? Ha ha ha, Xiao Pojun, this is what they call knowing the times. The Chi-Chi old monster poured more oil onto the flames. I guarantee that those who surrender now will be granted their freedom again after 100 years. Hearing this, the elders who had been wavering in their resolve immediately hardened their hearts and made their decision. After all, to those at the Saint Realm, 100 years is but the blink of an eye. In a fleeting moment, only Elder Li, the most senior among them, remained by Xiao Pojun's side. Elder Li, I never expected that in the end you would be the only one still willing to stay. The elder sighed softly upon hearing these words. Take care, Holy Lord. Having said that, he turned and walked away without once looking back. By this point, only Xiaopo Jun and I remained in the area. Ha ha ha. Xiaopo Jun, how does it feel to be abandoned by your companions? Xiaopo Jun looked toward his ancestor in total helplessness, his initial trust transforming into profound suspicion. Why had the ancestor not yet prepared to strike even at this late hour? Could it be that he is truly afraid? Meanwhile, I was busy contemplating what pose would look most impressive when I instantly annihilate these three Emperor Realm powerhouses. After all, according to the system, I only need to utter 2 words to activate this power. As for the visual effects, the system generates them at random, but guarantees they will be magnificent. But before I could finish my train of thought, the group of traders nearby had completely turned their backs on us. However, this betrayal served to prove that these elders were never reliable to begin with. Immediately following this, I parted my lips to speak. With my hands in my pockets, I looked up at the sky and declared, I shall grant you 10 breaths of time. Choose, submit, or die. As soon as these words were uttered, the entire scene erupted in chaos. Is this Gu Changfeng insane? Even if he is a second-order Emperor Realm expert, he wouldn't. I cared little for their thoughts, pointing a single finger directly at the ancient monster Qi Xiao. Ding! Detected host using the instant kill ability against an Emperor-level cultivator, currently initiating random effect synthesis. Ding! Sync effect. Lucian Rising Dragon Strike successfully synthesized. Along with a golden giant dragon soaring into the heavens, Qi Xiao took one look and understood instantly. This strike was absolutely not something he could withstand. Haha, the two of you, hurry and save me. But his desperate plea for help went unanswered, simply because the moment the giant dragon appeared, the other two had already torn through space and fled. However, they could never have expected that this golden dragon, after piercing through Qi Xiao's body, would rapidly vanish into the spatial tunnel they had just ripped open. Moments later, 2 pools of fresh blood sprayed out from within that tunnel. Seeing this, the 3 holy lords of the 3 great holy lands, along with the thousands of martial master experts behind them, turned ashen-faced. Those were 3 Emperor-level cultivators. How could they be instantly obliterated by a single strike? Ding! Congratulations to the host for slaying 3 Emperor-level cultivators. Reputation points increased by 5. System, you are deliberately sabotaging me, aren't you? I killed 3 Emperors and you only give me 5 reputation points? At this rate, if I need to reach 100,000 points in half a year, I would have to slaughter every single Emperor-level expert on this entire continent, and it still wouldn't be enough. I nearly lost my temper and shouted, but the system chimed in, host, do not be hasty. The system explained, although you performed an incredibly grand display just now, the scope of influence is limited only to these 3,000 experts present at the battlefield. The reputation has not yet spread to the wider world. Hearing this, my mood improved slightly. At that moment, Xiaopo Jun crept closer with a cunning smirk on his face. Old ancestor, now that the powerful enemies have been eradicated, how shall we deal with the remaining members of the 3 great holy lands? Should we slaughter them all? This question truly placed me in a difficult position. If I were to nod, who would actually carry out the execution? I did not believe that those people would simply stand by and watch themselves be slaughtered. However, just as I was hesitating, contemplating what to say, a large number of people on the opposite side suddenly knelt. Old ancestor, we were blinded by malice just now. Please, spare our lives. Old ancestor, we were forced to come here as well. We have absolutely no intention of attacking TNG Immortal Palace. Seeing this, I immediately tossed this hot potato aside. Pojin, what do you think? Upon hearing this, Xiao Poquan immediately formulated a plan in his mind. The ancestor was telling him, yes, it must be a test. His mind raced as he contemplated the hidden meaning behind the request. Relying on the ancestor's heaven-defying cultivation, if he truly wished to exterminate them, there would be no need to consult with him at all. Therefore, the ancestor's intention must be to keep them alive. Thinking further, Xiao Poquan considered the current dire state of the TNG Immortal Palace, and was suddenly struck with realization. The ancestor intends to keep them to rebuild the sacred grounds, while simultaneously replenishing the ranks of high-level combatants. Furthermore, by sparing their lives, he could consolidate the resources of their respective holy lands, preventing them from choosing a path of mutual destruction. Truly, he is the ancestor for a reason. Bowing respectfully, he spoke. Ancestor, perhaps we could spare their lives to help rebuild our TNG Immortal Palace. What do you think? I shall make the arrangements. Hearing my affirmation, Xiao Poquan was instantly filled with excitement. Haha, I guessed correctly. The ancestor was indeed testing me. He immediately unleashed his cultivation and shouted at the crowd, surrender your soul-bound essences, and your lives shall be spared. In a mere moment, Xiao Poquan held over 1,000 soul-bound essences in his grasp. The 3 holy lords of the opposing faction were livid yet terrified as they watched their own sect elders defect. Ha ha ha, Ye Zong, Zhao Tianheng, and Yinju Xuan. If you 3 are willing to join the Tianji Immortal Palace as servants, this holy lord may intercede with the ancestor to spare your lives. Hearing these words, my heart tightened. He's pushing too far. If he provokes them too much, we will all end up dead. Faced with such arrogant taunts from Xiao Poquan, Zhao Tianheng could no longer bear the humiliation. I am a saint-level expert at the peak of my cultivation. How can I ever submit to being a servant? If I am to die, I shall die with dignity. With that, he formed a hand seal and severed his own heart meridians, ending his life. Seeing this, Yizong and Jushuan exchanged a glance. Let us take everything and fight. Just as they were about to detonate their cultivation, I quickly spoke up. We provide room and board. We are willing to submit. Immediately, 2 soul-bound essences emerged from their bodies. Naturally, the most miserable of all were the original elders of the Tianji Immortal Palace. They had now become servants to servants. 3 days later, within a secret realm of the Nether Ghost Prison in the Three Spirits' ancient altar, an old man sat in meditation by the river, holding a fishing rod while watching a game of chess, his aura exuding an ancient and archaic essence, having existed for untold eons. Suddenly, an urgent cry shattered the tranquility of the sanctuary. Your unfilial descendant, Anjushuan, has come to beg for forgiveness. Did you not accompany them to assault the Tianji Immortal Mansion? For what reason do you now bear the weight of sin? And Anjushuan began to wail miserably, abandoning all pretense of the majestic master of the underworld abyss. Ancestor, you have been in seclusion within the secret realm, unaware that the 3 great sacred lands have been utterly annihilated. They are finished. With a trembling voice, he recounted the unfolding of the great battle from beginning to end, including the humiliating ordeal where he was enslaved by Xiaopo Jun and forced to haul night soil. That man Xiaopo Jun has gone too far in his arrogance. I implore you, Ancestor, to strike down this enemy and avenge your descendant. However, the elder did not respond with vengeance, but instead posed a chilling question. Anshuan, answer me this. When you fled the Tianji Immortal Mansion, did anyone attempt to stop you? And Jushuan pondered for a moment before replying. I seized the opportunity while Xiaopo Jun was distracted, and managed to sneak away. Fool, the elder roared with indignation. Even if that brat Xiao failed to notice your escape, do you truly believe that the patriarch, Gu Changfeng, would not have detected your presence? The elder let out a long, weary sigh. Jushuan, you have walked straight into a trap. If Gu Changfeng allowed you to leave, it means he has long been aware of my existence. He is intentionally probing our strength. Hearing the warning from his elder, Anjushuan was gripped by sudden terror. Ancestor, but we have no reason to fear him. If this were 10,000 years ago, I admittedly could not have slain 3 first-stage Emperor Realm experts in a single strike, but now I am no longer the man I once was. As he spoke, the white-robed elder released a formidable aura, causing Anjushuan's eyes to light up with newfound hope. Ancestor, have you achieved a breakthrough? Indeed. I have grasped the profound mysteries of the 3 gods' ancient altar and successfully advanced to the 3rd-stage Emperor Realm. Reflecting upon it, that Patriarch Gu Changfeng should only be my equal. What? If that Patriarch Gu Changfeng is also at the 3rd-stage Emperor Realm, what are we to do? And Jushuan had never imagined that Gu Changfeng would be such a perfect match for his ancestor. Do not worry, I have my own methods. And Tiantong stroked his beard and offered a cold, calculated smile. Do this, Jushuan, return to the Tianji Immortal Mansion at once. Meanwhile, I remain immersed in the satisfaction of In a mere 3 days, his reputation points surged from the initial 5 points to a flat 1,000. Ding, congratulations to the host for unlocking the lucky draw function. A single draw cost 1,000 reputation points. A 10-draw streak grants a 10% discount. 10 consecutive draws guarantee a pity reward. A single draw can create a miracle. Give me a jackpot right away. Ding. Congratulations to the host for drawing a bottle of stomach-soothing digestive pills. System, are you deliberately making a fool of me? If the host does not understand, please refrain from incessant chatter. The system replied calmly. This is indeed a peak-grade elixir. It simply happens to be for soothing the stomach and aiding digestion. Upon hearing this, I found myself unable to refute its logic. I had no choice but to help the lace for my reputation points to rise again. However, when the count reached 700 points, it stopped increasing entirely. What is the meaning of this? Could it be that my reputation in this Beihai Heaven domain is not yet renowned enough? Ding? This is because the quality of the reputation spread by the host this time is not sufficiently high. The magnitude of reputation points is determined by 2 factors. First, the host's strength as perceived by others. Second, the strength of those individuals themselves. Hearing this explanation, I understood immediately. Although I had slain the likes of the Chixiao old monster, the outside world likely estimated my strength to be only at the 2nd or 3rd stage. The level of astonishment remains far removed from that of peerless powerhouses like the Hanhai Emperor. For instance, his imperial title is Hanhai, which is why this fragment of the Heaven Domain is named the Hanhai Heaven Domain. Within the Hanhai Heaven Domain, the greatest powers are categorized into 1 imperial palace, 3 great sects, 7 great families, and 10 sacred grounds. The strength I have demonstrated thus far has not yet been enough to disturb those 7 great families. It seems I must continue writing that letter to the Hanhai Emperor after all. However, just as I had written halfway through, I was interrupted. This old man in Tianzun has come specifically to pay respects to the old ancestor Gu Changfeng. I humbly ask for an audience. Upon hearing this voice, the sect master Ru Xiaopon immediately soared into the sky, facing En Tianzun as if confronting a formidable enemy. He could feel the oppressive pressure very clearly. It far surpassed the strength of 3 individuals, like the Chixiao old monster combined. Meanwhile, Zhu Xuan, who was currently carrying feces, saw his family's ancestor arrive in person. He immediately dropped the bucket from his hands. As a core descendant of the N family, one of the 7 great families, when had he ever suffered such grievances? Once I, this old ancestor, level this Tianji Immortal Palace to the ground, I will personally force that Xiao Poquan to eat excrement. However, upon arriving, Tianjin did not make things difficult for Xiao Poquan. On the contrary, he spoke with extreme courtesy. Holy Master of the Tianji Immortal Palace, I and Tianjin have come to the Tianji Immortal Palace specifically to seek forgiveness. A few days ago, my unfilial descendant, Zhuxuan, and Tianjin did not finish the rest of his sentence, but Xiao Poquan already understood the situation. How impressive, that scoundrel kept his background well hidden. To think that his family still possesses an elder with such a level of cultivation, yet faced with the apology of a powerful Emperor realm expert, Xiao Poquan did not dare to be arrogant. He hurriedly cupped his hands and said, "Senior, please proceed to my Wentian hall. Wait here for a moment. I shall report this to our ancestor immediately." And Zhuxuan, watching from below as his own ancestor arrived to offer an apology, was incredibly confused. Why did the ancestor not return home to summon the other 3 ancestors, so they could directly overpower him 4-on-1? But at this moment, the voice of Tianjin echoed in his mind. "Jiushin, do not be impatient. I have my own clever plan." Hearing his ancestor say this, Zhuxuan felt confident that this move was a sure success. After leading Tianjin to the Wentian hall, Xiao Poquan immediately went to the Juxiao Cloud Terrace to report to me. "Ancestor, the person who has just arrived is the elder of the Holy Master of the Nether Ghost Prison in Jushuan. It is highly probable that his strength has reached the 3rd grade Emperor realm or higher." Hearing that a 3rd grade Great Emperor expert had come, I was instantly intrigued. "Very well, go and entertain him first. I will arrive shortly." An hour later, Tianjin, waiting in the Wentian hall, was beginning to grow genuinely annoyed. He asked with curiosity, "Holy Master Xiao, for what reason is fellow Taoist Gu so delayed that he has yet to appear? The conduct of our ancestor is such that, as his disciple, I dare not pry too much. I hope you can be understanding. Perhaps he will arrive after waiting a while longer." However, this while stretched into 3 hours, and Zhuxuan, standing to the side, finally erupted in anger. "Xiao Poquan ancestor is truly arrogant. Zhuxuan, hold your tongue. We are guests here to offer an apology. What does it matter if we wait a little longer?" After Tianjin finished speaking, he secretly transmitted his voice. "Zhuxuan, you are still far too young. This is clearly Patriarch Gu Changfeng, testing our sincerity. He does not fear my wrath, which proves his strength is indeed at the 3rd stage of the Emperor realm. There can be no mistake." Upon hearing this, Zhuxuan immediately fell silent, thinking to himself that these old men truly have endless schemes. Meanwhile, Xiao Pojun felt somewhat embarrassed. Why had his own patriarch not yet arrived? Did he not say earlier that he would be here shortly? At that very moment, a familiar figure appeared outside the Wentian palace. Tianjin immediately focused his gaze, unable to refrain from asking in confusion, "Is this a mere mortal?" At this moment I walked into the hall, slightly out of breath. Damn it, trekking across those cloud stairs and such a long mountain path has truly exhausted me. Indeed, the reason for my delay was not a lack of desire to attend, but the fact that I had been walking the entire distance from Juxiao Yuntai, a full 10+ kilometers of road. Fellow Taoist, I am truly sorry to have kept you waiting for so long. Having said that, I picked up the teacup on the table and drained it in one gulp. Yet, this ordinary demeanor appeared as an entirely different scene in the eyes of Yin Tianzun. It was my lack of consideration. I happened to catch a large fish a few days ago, so I brought it to share with you, fellow Taoist. I wonder if this delicacy will be to your liking. Hearing this, I was once again struck by his temperament. This old man's disposition is far too good. I provoked him like that, yet he still wants to invite me to eat fish. Should I just strike him down now? But if I do that, I would be acting as the inferior party, and if word got out, it would damage my reputation on the other side. Yin Tianzun was also calculating incessantly in his heart. For this man to be so arrogant, his strength must certainly be enough to not fear me. Fortunately, I have made preparations in advance. With that, he immediately took the fish basket from beside him and placed it on the tea table. Inside the bamboo-woven basket, a fish with black and white stripes was flopping about. Seeing this, Xiao Pojun asked with bewilderment, "This fish? Surely this is not an ordinary fish, but a shukun. It is a creature I spent 1,300 years fishing for before I finally managed to catch one." As he spoke, a sense of immense accomplishment. I must secretly admire this. It took over 1,000 years to catch just one. He truly is a master of angling. Fellow Taoist Gu, this void coon is an incredibly rare treasure. A single bite is enough to increase the cultivation of an Emperor realm expert like us. Today, let us enjoy this delicacy together. What do you think? Hearing this, I readily accepted the invitation. After all, in the 100 years since I transmigrated, I have yet to enjoy a proper meal. Damn it, cultivators generally have no need for food. Within my Juxiao Yuntai, aside from elixirs, there is only spirit vegetation. I have been living on a vegetarian diet for a century. At this moment, Yin Tiantun had already begun to skillfully prepare the Void Kun. Beside him, Yin Jushuan watched, completely stunned. Their ancestor had not only produced a rare treasure like the Void Kun, but also peerless wonders such as the yin-yang life-generating grass and water of origin. How could he share so many precious artifacts with an outsider? Thus, he secretly sent a voice transmission. Ancestor, this is not worth it, Yin Tiantun replied. Jushuan, regarding such true treasures, do you really think I intend to hand them over to another on a silver platter? This Void Kun, when combined with the yin-yang life-generating grass, becomes a potent poison. For an ordinary Emperor Realm expert, a single sip of this fish soup would cause their dantian to rupture in an instant. Before arriving here, I intentionally traveled to the Dangsan Holy Sect, one of the 3 great sects, to obtain 3 Earth-grade vessel-protecting elixirs. But that boy surnamed Gu, where would he find an Emperor-grade elixir to mitigate the effects? I dare guarantee that once he swallows a piece of this fish meat, he will surely suffer a violent death within half a quarter of an hour. In the blink of an eye, half an hour passed, and a bowl of golden-hued fish soup was served before everyone. I asked the system, for the old man claimed that any Emperor Realm expert who consumes this meat could enhance their cultivation. I wondered, if I consumed it, could it potentially heal the meridians damaged by the Great Tao Heavenly Tribulation? The system rolled its eyes. Host stopped daydreaming. Your current body was ravaged by the Great Tao Heavenly Tribulation. Consuming this will have absolutely no effect. Regarding this, I did not feel particularly surprised. Then, let the feast begin. Just as I placed the first slice of fish into my mouth under the expectant gaze of Yin Tiantun, the expression on his face turned exceptionally sinister. Fellow Taoist Gu, how does it taste? A delicacy. It is truly a delicacy. Very well, boy. You possess quite the stubborn tongue, don't you? I wish to see how many more pieces you can consume. Yin Tiantun did not wait for me to refuse. He insisted on placing several more slices of fish into my bowl. I did not dwell on it any further. Chewing and swallowing, I even took a sip of the soup. Fellow Taoist An, you should eat as well. Do not just watch me dine. Yin Tianzun had already anticipated this point. He calmly and leisurely picked up a slice of fish and placed it into his mouth. Instantly, a violent surge of energy swept through his dantian in the blink of an eye. He hastily utilized the Earth-rank vessel-protecting pill he had consumed beforehand, proceeding to refine and convert this turbulent energy. It took roughly 40 breaths of time before his dantian finally returned to a state of stillness. Sigh, I truly underestimated the potency of the Void Kun and the yin-yang root birth grass, he thought. A mere slice of fish has already exhausted 1/5 of the medicinal efficacy of 3 vessel-protecting pills. He truly could not fathom why my expression remained so tranquil after I had finished eating. Perhaps he also consumed an Emperor-grade pill beforehand, or could it be that his cultivation base far surpasses my own? At this moment, I noticed that after consuming a single slice of fish, Yin Tianzun remained frozen there for a long time, not moving his chopsticks. Thus I asked, Fellow Taoist An, is your stomach not in good condition? Through this remark, Yin Tianzun sensed a blatant provocation. My appetite is certainly superior to yours. Having said that, he picked up another slice of fish and swallowed it. Forcing himself to endure the discomfort in his abdomen, he spoke up once more. Fellow Taoist Gu, it is your turn. Naturally, I did not stand on ceremony, and immediately ate another piece. Seeing this, Yin Tianzun refused to be outdone, and so, with one slice for me and one for him, a fierce battle of endurance began. This scene caused Yin Jushuan, who was watching from the side, to break out in a cold sweat. Grand Ancestor must win this. Although Yin Tianzun had once claimed to be evenly matched with Gu Changfeng, Yin Jushuan was not foolish. As slice after slice of fish went down, it was clear that the Grand Ancestor was rapidly losing strength. Very quickly, he had completely exhausted the medicinal power of his 3 Earth-rank vessel-protecting pills. He looked at the 6th slice of fish in his bowl and fell into deep contemplation. To eat or not to eat? Just as he was hesitating, he heard me ask, Fellow Taoist An, are you unable to eat any more at this point? As I spoke, I picked up another slice of fish and consumed it. Hearing these words, how could Yin Tianzun hold back? He gritted his teeth and swallowed the 6th slice of fish. Since he lacked the assistance of an Emperor-grade pill this time, the violent energy within the fish meat ran rampant throughout his body. To suppress it, and Tianzun's cultivation realm was forced down to the 2nd stage of the Emperor realm. Fortunately, he finally succeeded, but he had reached his absolute limit. He no longer had the strength to even finish a single bowl of soup. Yet, at this very moment, An Jushuan, who stood beside him, excitedly transmitted his voice to him. Ancestor, look, Ancestor Gu Changfeng's about to reach his limit, and Tianzun immediately focused his gaze, observing that my complexion had indeed turned slightly worse than before. Could it be that the turning point of this ordeal has finally arrived? However, amidst their expectant gazes, I let out a loud, distinct belch, and retrieved the bottle of digestive aid I had obtained earlier. And Tianzun looked closely, and his entire body froze in stunned silence. The pills filling the bottle were all of a grade exceeding the Earth rank, something not even the sect masters of the 3 great sects could refine. But what terrified him even more was that these elixirs, which he viewed as divine treasures, were being consumed by me by the handful. In this instant, he finally realized the disparity in our strength, and the urge to flee began to take root in his heart. Yet, under my watchful eyes, he discovered he lacked even the courage to take a single step. After swallowing the digestive aid, the feeling of bloating immediately vanished. I looked down to find that I had finished the fish, but a large pot of fish soup remained. So, after serving myself a ladle, I poured another for Tianzun sitting across from me. Fellow Taoist Anne, this original essence soup is nourishing. Have some more. Hearing these words, Tianzun hurriedly waved his hands. No, I am already full. If you don't finish this soup, wouldn't it be a terrible waste? Have a little more. Fellow Taoist, I am truly full. Besides, my elderly mother back home is about to give birth, so please excuse me. Take a sip before you leave. Surely you wouldn't deny me this honor. At this very moment, Tianzun was truly gripped by fear, but what brought him a sliver of relief was the realization that he could depart as soon as he finished this final spoonful of soup. He swore to himself that once he left this place, he would never again pay heed to his cowardly descendant, An Jushuan. Yet, who could have foreseen that as soon as he swallowed a single drop, his dantian began to swell violently, and moments later, it exploded. Seeing his ancestor suddenly detonate, and Jushuan at the same time, I was left completely dumbfounded by this spectacle. Is the entirety of the Yin family truly this repulsive? It is one thing for the elder to have soiled himself across the ground, but for this youth to kneel directly in the filth and weep is beyond comprehension. This individual simply cannot be allowed to live. Yin Jushuan, is this Taoist friend truly your elder? Quickly take his corpse back to your family. Furthermore, there is no need for you to return here. Unexpectedly, upon hearing this, Yin Jushuan was struck with overwhelming terror, recalling the warnings Yin Tiantun had given him while still alive. Jushuan, you have been deceived. It is clear that Gu Changfeng intends to let you go. And Jushuan felt utterly desperate, but what other choice did he have? He had no choice but to obey the command. After all, as a mere peak-stage Saint Realm cultivator, how could he possibly contend with someone as terrifically powerful as Gu Changfeng? He could only wait until he returned to his family to let the clan head decide the matter. Thus he used his storage bag to collect the remains of Yin Tiantun, and hurriedly fled the scene. Watching Yin Jushuan's retreating figure, Xiao Po Jun muttered to himself, wondering how the old ancestor had actually let him leave alive. From the very beginning, he had genuinely believed that Yin Tiantun had come to seek forgiveness. Only later did he realize that the old ancestor and Yin Tiantun had been locked in a secret struggle all along. As for me, I felt as though I had suffered a terrible loss. How could such a person actually allow himself to die of overexertion? Could he not have let me kill him to increase my reputation points? 3 days later, within the ancestral grounds of the Yin family, one of the 7 great clans, 4 elders stood scrutinizing Yin Jushuan as he knelt on the ground. Without exception, every one of these men was of the Emperor realm. The man at the head in family patriarch Yin Dao analyzed the situation. To be able to pressure Tiantun to the point where he lacked even the courage to flee, the cultivation of that old ancestor Gu Changfeng must be truly unfathomable. Patriarch, now that Tiantun is dead, we need not dwell on that further. The key issue now is to discern the motive behind Gu Changfeng releasing Jushuan. At this moment, a second-tier Emperor Realm elder spoke up. Patriarch, could this matter be related to that item? At the mere mention of that item, the expressions of the other elders shifted violently. Finally, Yin Dao sighed involuntarily. The heavens of the Han High Heaven domain are about to change. He then withdrew a small purple gourd from his waist. Forget it. If this Gu Changfeng wishes to contend with the 3 great sects and the Han High Emperor, then I shall grant him his wish. Yuzhuan. Take this item personally to old ancestor Gu Changfeng. Remember, once you have delivered it, do not return to the Yin family for the time being. From this moment forth, our Yin family shall withdraw from the ranks of the 7 great clans. And Jushuan looked up, his expression one of utter disbelief. Patriarch, our An family has reigned supreme over the heavenly domain for 1,000,000 years. Are we truly to fear a single Gu Changfeng? And Dao looked at An Jushuan's ignorance with disdain. He sighed and said, as long as you have not stepped into the Emperor realm, you will never comprehend the true terror of that man, Gu Changfeng. Having said this, he wasted no more words. He and the others vanished into the void, leaving An Jushuan standing alone in the blink of an eye. Yet, what was even more inconceivable was that in just 3 hours the entire Enclan family saw every powerhouse from the martial sect realm and above abruptly disappear. Inside the Juxiao Cloud Terrace, I listened to the system notifications echoing, confirming that I had suppressed the entire Enclan family. Reputation points increased by 200, then by another 100. In a mere moment, I was nearing the 5,000 point milestone. One must know that reaching 5,000 points unlocks the system shop. Although I was stuck at 4,733 points, I was still pleased. And system, can my fellow Taoist and dying of abdominal distension really be attributed to me? Correct. As long as the host indirectly or directly leads to the target's death, reputation points will be awarded. If killing a 3rd rank Emperor Realm expert yields this many points, Then killing the Han High Emperor Sovereign would surely be a massive windfall, wouldn't it? Just as I was brimming with joy, the hurried voice of Xiao Po Jun rang out from outside. Ancestor, great news has arrived. Just moments ago, the An family, one of the 7 great clans, delivered a middle-grade emperor treasure to offer their apologies. Furthermore, they promised to vanish from the Han High heavenly domain entirely, and vowed never to seek vengeance against any of our disciples. As his voice trailed off, Anjushin reluctantly produced the 4th-rank emperor treasure. Looking at the purple treasure gourd in my hand, an object capable of purchasing an entire heavenly extreme immortal abode, I assessed it calmly. Trash. It would have been more practical to just gift me a great emperor. Yet, I did not expect this careless remark to leave Anjushin on the verge of tears. The family's most precious treasure was, in the eyes of the ancestor, nothing more than rubbish. It seems I shall never have the chance to see Xiao Po Jun suffer a beating. Ancestor, there is one more matter requiring your decree. Our heavenly extreme immortal abode has now absorbed the resources of the 3 former sacred grounds, but many elder positions remain vacant. How should we fill them? I await your instructions, Ancestor. How do you intend to proceed? Disciple wishes to hold an open recruitment assembly for elders across the entire Han High heavenly domain. He determined a generous reward to attract a vast number of rogue cultivators. I pointed out the key factor directly. After all, what the Tianji Immortal Mansion has lacked all along are not mere saints. In the presence of an Emperor Realm expert, such individuals are nothing more than ants. However, the Han High Heavenly Domain officially possesses only one Emperor Realm expert, the Han High Emperor Lord. As for the other Emperor Realm experts, none have ever revealed themselves publicly. No one truly understands the reason behind this. And how could a lowly immortal mansion like theirs possibly hope to recruit an Emperor Realm expert? While he was lost in thought, Xiao Po Jun watched as I tossed him a purple treasure gourd. Use this 4th-tier Emperor-grade treasure as a reward to recruit Emperor Realm powerhouses. Furthermore, for any Emperor Realm expert willing to humble themselves and join the mansion, regardless of whether they choose to serve as an elder or not, they may select any sacred item from the treasure vault as they please. This display of generosity left Yinju Xuan, standing nearby, completely dumbfounded. One must understand that sacred items and emperor-grade treasures are the very foundation of a faction's strength. Yet, Gu Changfeng treated them as if they were mere vegetables to be given away. Moreover, who could guarantee that these guest cultivators, bought with such vast resources, would not betray them later? Although Xiao Po Jun also felt this approach was somewhat unconventional, he knew the old ancestor surely had a deeper motive for such actions. Thus he took the 4th-tier purple treasure gourd and stepped off the Juxiao Cloud Terrace, beginning the preparations for this recruitment assembly. In an instant, the undercurrents between the great powers began to surge. 3 days later, Tianji Peak was teeming with people, independent rogue cultivators, elders from various sects, and royalty from the imperial dynasties all arrived. There were even spies sent by the major factions among the crowd. For instance, Mu Qingxue was among them. She hailed from the Hao Yue Immortal Gate, one of the 3 great sects, and possessed a cultivation at the 3rd-tier Emperor Realm. Her mission this time was primarily to test the true strength of Gu Changfeng and to seize the 4th-tier Emperor-grade treasure, the purple treasure gourd. As for why she was chosen for this task, it was mainly due to her excessively cautious nature. For example, even now that she has reached the Emperor Realm, becoming a hidden power of the Hao Yu Immortal Gate, she continues to live among the menial disciples as she always has. More strangely, even if a lowly menial disciple were to provoke her, she would endure it for the time being. She would investigate all of that disciple's connections to confirm they posed no threat to her before finally taking action. At this moment, she had used a secret technique to disguise herself as a woman in the martial sovereign realm. You brat, it has been 300 years. As expected, no matter how many years have passed, you remain as cautious as ever. These words, Mu Qingxue was startled. She had been discovered by a mere martial emperor. She immediately began to carefully probe his cultivation level. Her eyes widened in shock. 2nd-tier Emperor Realm. To think a peer of the Dangxin sect leader would quietly disguise himself as a martial emperor. Does he not feel that such a deception is excessive? Nonsense. This old man calls it prudence. Only one who has reached the Emperor Realm can truly detect another. And so 2 overly cautious Emperor Realm powerhouses began to bicker via divine sense. Elsewhere, I was listening to the report from Xiao Po Jun. Ancestor, the number of experts arriving to register for the recruitment is immense. Counting only those at the Saint Realm, there are already over 400. Are there any of the Emperor Realm? Xiao Po Jun shook his head and replied, no Emperor Realm powerhouses have been detected yet. Hearing this, I waved my hand lightly, signaling for him to withdraw. Sigh, if there are no Emperor Realm experts, I had best remain hidden here at the Juxiao Cloud Terrace. But at that moment, the roar of a dragon echoed, and a figure descended, stepping upon the back of a flood dragon. Where is the ancestor Gu Changfeng? Mu Qingwei and the Yan old monster, hiding among the crowd, fixed their gaze upon the figure. They shouted in unison, an Emperor Realm expert, and a completely unfamiliar one at that. At this point, I was also drawn outside by the clamor. After all, someone with such an imposing aura is likely an Emperor Realm expert. Even if he were not, I must maintain my image as a peerless powerhouse. But when the crowd saw that my cultivation aura felt no different from that of a common mortal, they could not help but be astonished, thinking, I cannot see through his cultivation at all. He is truly worthy of being the existence capable of annihilating 3 great sacred lands. I am Gu Changfeng, a rogue cultivator. As soon as these words were spoken, the surrounding crowd erupted in an uproar. Only those who were also rogue cultivators could truly understand. For a rogue cultivator to reach the great Emperor realm is as difficult as a man giving birth. Thus, the sudden arrival of Gu Changfeng set the blood of every rogue cultivator present boiling. Unconsciously, they began to chant in unison, a rogue cultivator crowned emperor. The great emperor is mighty, and this was exactly the response Gu Changfeng had been waiting for. Facing tens of thousands of cultivators, he spoke in a booming voice. In Chukurin, I was born with a saintly physique, having entered the martial emperor realm at the age of 10, capable of slaying the golden-winged great rock while cross-leveling. At 18, I entered the martial monarch realm, and subsequently slaughtered 38 ancient martial monarchs. That battle turned the sky dark and the earth dim. From that moment on, in the Longzhu ruins, no one dared to call themselves a martial monarch. By the age of 35, I ascended to the throne of the great emperor. Every word spoken by Gu Changfeng carried an extraordinary sense of confidence. Tens of thousands of cultivators at the scene were all captivated by his presence. It is difficult to imagine. Only 35 years to ascend from a mortal to a martial emperor. What kind of monstrous talent is this? I heard rumors that you, fellow Taoist, defeated 3 opponents at once, consecutively destroying 3 great holy lands. Now that I have attained the perfection of the first stage Emperor realm, I have come specifically to challenge you to a battle, so we may verify our strength. I coldly refused. You are far too weak. Furthermore, for anyone who dares to challenge me, there is no such thing as stopping at the point of restraint. There is only one path, death. Gu Changfeng, you are far too arrogant. Do not truly believe that because you defeated 3 powerful experts, you are invincible under the heavens. While speaking, a golden long spear appeared in Gu Changfeng's hand. The reason for his overwhelming confidence lay in one more factor. Inside his black armor resided the soul of a supreme ancient expert, with strength equivalent to the 6th-stage Emperor realm. Ding. Detecting the host is using the instant kill Great Emperor ability, randomly pairing special effects. Ding. Synchronization for the Great Desolate Prisoner Heaven finger successful. Suddenly the wind surged and the clouds gathered in the sky as a colossal finger descended. Gu Changfeng realized with horror that beneath this massive finger, he was not only unable to channel his spiritual energy, but he could not even move his body. At this moment he was filled with profound regret. Senior, please save me. On the brink of life and death, a black phantom appeared before his chest. But in a mere half-second, this black phantom, along with Gu Changfeng, was crushed beneath the colossal finger. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully slaying the Son of Fortune of the Hanhai Heaven region. Reputation points increased by 2,000, and a white treasure chest has been obtained. Because reputation points have reached over 5,000, the shop function has been unlocked. I was wondering why he acted so impressive when he first appeared. So he was a Son of Fortune. But what is the deal with this white treasure chest? With the items dropped by the Son of the Plane and the treasure chest now opened, I successively obtained a map to the Dragon God Emperor Palace and a portion of secret medicine. Congratulations to the host for successfully triggering the hidden quest, the ruins of the Dragon God Emperor Palace. You must reach this location within 3 days to collect the remains of the Dragon God. Successfully unlock the attendance function. Failure to attend will result in the deletion of all reputation points, and simultaneously the truth that the host is a mere mortal will be exposed. Hearing this quest, the corners of my mouth twitched incessantly. For a mortal without a shred of cultivation like me to head over there, would that not be throwing my life away? If you want me dead, just say so directly. Why must you beat around the bush in such a convoluted manner? Meanwhile, the hearts of Mu Qingshui and the old monster Yan were shaken to their core. That previous finger strike was simply too earth-shattering, completely exceeding the limits of their comprehension. Moreover, just before that Gu Changfeng was crushed, a terrifyingly powerful aura appeared. An aura that had manifested before, yet he was still obliterated. A 6th-order Emperor Realm expert extinguished by a single finger. This moment left Mu Qingshui and old monster Yan drenched in cold sweat. We must leave this place immediately. But just as the 2 of them prepared to move, they discovered that my gaze had happened to fall upon them. Their hearts trembled violently, yet after 3 agonizing breaths had passed, they realized I had already shifted my gaze away. And their hearts were immediately filled with a sense of relief. Soon after, their minds were flooded with suspicion once more. Senior Yan, Patriarch Changfeng discovered us, yet did not kill us. What could his true intention be? Do not forget that today is the recruitment assembly of the Tianji Immortal Mansion. Hearing old Monster Yan's reminder, Mu Qingshui suddenly understood. He intends for them to join the Tianji Immortal Mansion. Without further hesitation, the two no longer concealed their strength, and their Emperor Realm cultivation erupted in an instant. This young woman, Mu Qingshui, pays her respects to Patriarch Gu Changfeng. This humble one, old Monster Yan, pays his respects to Patriarch Gu Changfeng. Yet, but they remained fixated on the ruins of the Dragon God. How should they proceed? This uncertainty made the two of them overly cautious, causing their minds to wander into dark places. Could it be that the ancestor deems our sincerity insufficient, and is therefore dissatisfied? With this thought, they spoke in unison. We are willing to join the Heavenly Pole Immortal Mansion, and offer 30,000 Supreme-grade Spirit Stones. Hearing this, Mu Qingshui was enraged. This old Monster Yan had actually betrayed her, and thus she hurriedly added, I will offer 35,000. No, I offer 45,000. I offer 60,000. Mu Qingshui was forced to stop, for her entire fortune amounted to only 50,000 Spirit Stones. Meanwhile, old Monster Yan was secretly rejoicing. Attempting to compete in financial resources against me? You are still far too inexperienced. However, just as the two were anticipating my response, I asked them something else entirely. Are you two aware of the ruins of the Dragon God Emperor Palace? Upon hearing these words, Mu Qingshui and old Monster Yan trembled violently. Not only had they heard of the Dragon God Emperor Palace ruins, but they were also intimately familiar with them. For just half a month ago, the sect leaders of the Hoyu Immortal Gate and the Dangshan Holy Sect had ventured inside. Very well, I have heard of them. Within 3 days, you shall accompany me to the Dragon God ruins. Ha, both of them are in the Emperor realm. Would they not make perfect bodyguards and attendants for me? When we enter the dungeon, those two can handle the minor minions below the Emperor realm, while I shall deal with the formidable bosses myself. 2 days later, within a dark canyon, a man stood holding a compass, scrutinizing it intently. This compass was a 6th-grade Emperor treasure, known as the Heaven's Secret Plate, and before him stood a stone gate covered in dense arrays of restrictions. Even with his cultivation at the 7th-grade Emperor realm, he found it impossible to break through using brute force alone. He was Chen Yan, the 3rd-generation leader of the Dangshan Holy Sect. Ah, this is not right. According to the calculations of the Heaven's Secret Plate, the son of the plane destined to open the entrance to the ruins should have appeared long ago. Yet, where is this son of the plane now? I have clearly performed the divination tens of thousands of times, and every conclusion dictates that this son of the plane will open the entrance to the ruins. Just as he was deep in thought, a stunningly beautiful woman with an aura similar to his own approached. This was Li Yue, the leader of the Haoyue Immortal Gate. Like Chen Yan, she had been waiting here for the son of the plane to manifest. Naturally, she had also encountered a peculiar situation. Over the last 2 days, the location of the Dragon God Emperor Palace ruins seemed to have been exposed. She had just stepped outside the canyon to investigate, and discovered that a vast number of cultivators from all corners of the world were already converging upon the site. This is impossible. Years ago, I clearly used a forbidden technique to conceal the aura of this place, so how could it have been discovered by others? At this moment, I was walking through this canyon with Mo Qingshui and the old Monster Yan. Furthermore, there were many cultivators throughout the canyon, all hailing from various sects. This was in fact one of my plans. Having read countless cultivation novels, I knew very well that none of these cultivators were truly righteous. It was impossible to excavate their tombs without a few casualties. Not to mention that I am still a mere mortal, which is why I released this information to the public. I intended for the rogue cultivators of the entire Hanhai Heaven domain to clear the path for me. Senior, the entrance to the ruins is just ahead, Mo Qingshui said, pointing toward the stone gate. I followed her gaze, and happened to see Chen Yan and Li Yuanhe looking solemn. Naturally, they had spotted us as well. Chen Yan lowered the Heaven's secret compass in his hand and clicked his tongue. Liang, should you not be at the Heaven Pole Immortal Palace? Why have you come here? And you, girl, what is the meaning of this? Immediately after, they shifted their focus toward me, but upon seeing this graceful and refined young man, they realized they could not discern who he was. As a rare supreme powerhouse of the Hanhai Heaven domain, Li Yuanhe was certainly not foolish enough to assume that a man whose cultivation level she could not perceive was merely a mortal. However, the problem was that even someone at the 7th grade Emperor realm like her could not see through him, which implied his cultivation had reached the 8th or even 9th grade. Yet, there is currently only one person in the entire Hanhai Heaven domain, with a cultivation at the 8th grade or above, the Hanhai Emperor. The crux of the matter was that the Hanhai Emperor, like her, was a woman. After ruling out that possibility, only one conclusion remained. This person must be the child of the plane predicted by the Heaven's secret compass. Thinking of this, she pulled Mo Qingshui to her side. The task I entrusted to you has been completed, so why are you accompanying this child of the plane? Hearing this, Mo Qingshui looked bewildered. Old Sectmaster, what child of the plane are you talking about? This is Senior Patriarch Gu Changfeng. Afterwards, Qing Shui recounted in clear detail everything that had transpired over the past 2 days. Upon hearing this, Li Wan's expression shifted to one of shock. What? The child of the plane was killed by this boy with a single finger? This matter is of great importance. Li Wan quietly sent a voice transmission to Chen Yan, and the son of the plane Shu Quanggren has already been slain by Gu Changfeng. My ears are not deaf, I heard of it long ago. Furthermore, I have just used the heavenly secret disc to calculate his fate, and the result? It is impossible to calculate. What does it mean to be impossible to calculate? It is unknowable, completely beyond calculation. Within his destiny, there appears to be an existence that transcends the heavenly Tao. Therefore, no matter how I attempt to divine it, the only result the heavenly secret disc provides is this. He is a mortal completely devoid of any cultivation base. Immediately after, Chen Yan put away the heavenly secret disc and offered a respectful bow. I, Chen Yan of the Dangshan Sacred Sect, pay my respects to fellow Taoist Gu. I, Li Yuangge of the Hayu Immortal Gate, pay my respects to fellow Taoist Gu. Host has successfully completed a high-quality broadcast of reputation. Reputation points increased by 10,000. Hearing these greetings, I looked toward Mu Qingxue and Old Monster Yan with a smirk that was not quite a smile. Antiques. To think I would run into your fellow countrymen here. The two of them immediately understood the implication behind these words. They were our former sect masters. But now that we have joined the Tianji Immortal Mansion, we shall naturally devote all our efforts to serving the Tianji Immortal Mansion and have no further ties with them. One could clearly see the fawning, sycophantic expression on their faces. Seeing their former sect masters forced to bow respectfully to Gu Changfeng, the two immediately pledged their loyalty. Yet, when the two old sect masters witnessed this scene, their lips twitched, truly magnificent. I sent you to investigate, and you immediately defected to the enemy. But as true powerhouses of the Han High Heaven domain, both knew that the priority at this moment was the secret realm, so they did not give in to their anger. Meanwhile, everyone present harbored their own hidden agendas. Chen Yan and his companion were both contemplating how to exploit my identity, to enter the secret realm together. While I was considering how to utilize these two sect masters, just then, 3 formidable experts arrived, their auras surging as they descended. The leader Zhao Cheng wore an expression of profound astonishment. He had not expected anyone to arrive before them. Furthermore, they appeared to be nothing more than 5 mere mortals. Yet as a martial sovereign, and having cultivated for at least 1,000 years, he naturally would not be so foolish as to truly dismiss them as commoners. With a humble demeanor, he probed, "Are you all here in search of fortuitous encounters as well?" Chen Yan and the others remained silent, waiting to see how I would respond. To this I gave a faint nod and replied, "Since that is the case, if you fellow Daoists do not mind, shall we travel together? I am Zhao Cheng, and these two are the brothers Sima Xun and Sima. We hail from the Xingyun sect of the Great Jin Dynasty." Having said this, Zhao Cheng continued to probe, "I wonder, from where do you fellow Daoists originate?" Regarding this Xingyun sect, I searched my memories, only to realize I had never heard of it. This meant it was merely an insignificant place. In other words, the cultivation base of the old man before me was certainly below that of a great emperor, a being capable of obliterating me with but a thought. Thus I lowered my posture even further. "We are all rogue cultivators. Our cultivation levels are meager and not worth mentioning." Mu Qingxue followed suit immediately. Yes, indeed we are all rogue cultivators." Zhao Cheng laughed heartily upon hearing this. "Even if you are rogue cultivators, you are certainly not ordinary ones. With the insight of my martial sovereign realm, I cannot discern your true cultivation levels at all." Hearing that a martial sovereign was undoubtedly on the opposing side, my body trembled. A martial sovereign can materialize spiritual energy into forms of immense power, so I decided that I must remain even more humble. "So it is Senior Zhao." Hearing me use the term senior, Chen Yan and Li Yuanhe felt a ripple of disbelief. Gu Changfeng, a legendary powerhouse of such caliber, is actually calling a martial sovereign senior. "Old man, what do you make of this? Gu Changfeng's schemes are unfathomable. He must have a purpose for this, so let us simply follow his lead. After entering the ruins, we shall split up to search for the Dihai Dragon God." Thus they both feigned ignorance, acting as if they could not even defeat a martial sovereign, and addressed Zhao Cheng as senior. As for Mu Qingxue and Old Monster Yan, they were already exceptionally calm and cautious by nature. Playing the role of the obedient descendant was their greatest specialty. "Senior Zhao, we are truly just ordinary rogue cultivators. As for why you cannot see through our cultivation, it is because we possess a secret technique capable of concealing our auras." Having said that, Mu Qingxue immediately disguised herself as a martial spirit realm cultivator, not even appearing to be at the martial king level. Zhao Cheng looked again, and besides myself, the true cultivation levels of the other 4 became gradually apparent. They were merely 4 juniors in the martial spirit realm. In an instant, the respectful attitude he had displayed a moment ago vanished completely. Just then, a shrill female voice echoed throughout the canyon. "All of you, halt." Immediately following that, a red-haired maiden descended from the sky, accompanied by a masked individual behind her. Their aura was not in the slightest bit inferior to that of Zhao Cheng, clearly indicating that they were another formidable martial emperor. Eventually, through negotiations between the two martial emperor experts, they agreed to enter the secret realm together, but in the blink of an eye, they were thwarted by the restrictive seal on the stone gate. They discovered that no matter what type of attack they attempted, they could not force it open. Since brute force proved ineffective, they were forced to resort to subtler methods. After some study, Zhao Cheng finally discovered that all the energy of the seal on the stone gate converged at a single point. If my deductions are correct, this must be the formation eye. To enter, we must find the key that corresponds to it. Sima Shun asked, Elder Zhao, if that is the case, does it mean we will be unable to open this stone gate? It would appear so for the moment. But, may I interrupt your conversation to present this? Everyone stared at the key in my hand, stunned into silence, and Chen Yan in particular found the sight utterly unbelievable. He recalled the time he had used the heavenly mystery disk to calculate the coordinates of the key, discovering that it was located in the extreme north of the heavenly prison. He had galloped there without a moment's rest, only to learn that the key had moved to the extreme south. With no other choice, he traveled all the way to the extreme south. Yet, contrary to his expectations, once he arrived at the extreme south, the heavenly mystery disk provided new guidance. The key had been obtained by the child of the plane, whose exact location was impossible to track. He was forced to calculate the time when the child of the plane would open the ruins, so he had remained here, waiting patiently. At this moment, gazing at the key in my hand, he became increasingly aware that I was unfathomable. Everything, from the person who obliterated the ancestors of the three sacred grounds, to the elder recruitment assembly, was all a meticulously crafted trap laid out for the child of the plane. It was a scheme to lure the child of the plane out step by step, only to exterminate him. As these thoughts surfaced, he dared not reflect any further. He realized that he himself might merely be a pawn in this grand game. At this moment, seeing the key in my hand, the red-haired maiden was the first to rush forward, grabbing it without a single word of courtesy. This girl truly lacks even the most basic manners. I, this old ancestor, have not yet said you could have it, yet you have already taken it. Wait until you have cultivated to the great emperor realm, and see how I deal with you then. At this moment, the young girl walked to the stone gate with the key and inserted it into the black mark. Consequently, the stone gate began to slowly creak open. Upon seeing this, the crowd wore expressions of utter disbelief. None could have imagined that a group of lowly martial spirit realm trash actually possessed the key to this place. Those who finally regained their senses began sending me invitations to join their parties, believing that I am a person of great destiny. After a moment of consideration, I decided to form a team with the red-haired girl. Those who know, understand. As for Chen Yan and Li Weining, once the stone gate opened, they parted ways with us. Host has successfully entered the ruins of the Dragon God Imperial Palace. The double draw reward is truly wonderful. I can perform a draw once again. I only hope that this time it does not yield something like stomach-soothing pills again. Congratulations to the host for drawing a bottle of shampoo and a bottle of body wash. System, are you looking for a beating? What use could these two items possibly have in the world of cultivation? Just as I was feeling frustrated, I suddenly heard the red-haired girl, Yan, excitedly cry out. Senior, look quickly. There is a medicinal herb garden ahead. This must be the place where the Dragon God Emperor used to cultivate his spiritual plants. This is truly a grand fortuitous encounter. Yanner, look over there. There are yellow-grade soulflowers, at least a dozen clusters of them. Tu Yan and the masked Uncle Feng did not waste words, beginning to frantically stuff them into their storage bags. One must realize that even a single stalk of these spiritual herbs, if brought to their great Qi dynasty, would be fought over by countless cultivators. Very quickly, the two of them had completely filled 4 storage bags. Uncle Feng, do you have any more storage bags? They are all gone. I only have this final one remaining. Alas, it seems the remaining spiritual herbs are destined to be out of our reach. Tu Yan was certainly unwilling to leave the spirit herb garden like this, so she turned her gaze toward us. Senior, do you have any extra storage bags that you could lend me? At this moment, Uncle Feng also approached, saying, if you are willing to assist us, fellow Taoist, our great Qi imperial family will owe you a debt of gratitude. In his eyes, a small itinerant cultivator like me would only need 3 or 4 stalks at most, and would he used a precious favor in exchange for medicinal herbs that were useless to me. Refusing such an offer was truly impossible. Yet, upon hearing this, I remained completely unmoved. Seeing this, Uncle Feng furrowed his brows. If you feel the conditions are insufficient, fellow Taoist, once we leave this place, you may join our great Qi imperial dynasty and enjoy cultivation resources equal to those of the royal family. But I maintained my silence, for if I possessed a spatial bag, why had I been standing here foolishly for half a day? With no other choice, I had to turn and ask Mo Qingshui and the two behind me. Do either of you a spatial bag on you? Yes. As they spoke, Mo Qingshui and Old Monster Yan each retrieved one and tossed it to Shu Yan. The two of them then continued to harvest spirit herbs. Little Snow, this medicinal garden is filled with nothing but trash. It is hardly worth the effort of carrying it away. Old Monster Yan transmitted his voice. Tell me, Senior Gu, why would he want to borrow our spatial bags? I do not know. I fear the senior other plans. Let us continue to observe. The two of them stared as Shu Yan harvested that pile of junk. However, just as she finished filling one of the spatial bags, the ground began to tremble, and immediately after, a beast king's roar that could shake one's very soul echoed through the air. Humans, drop the spirit herbs in your hands, and this tiger might only eat one of you bold fools. A mere animal like you dares to speak such arrogant words? Uncle Feng was confident, as he was himself at the peak of the martial emperor realm, and he felt no fear toward this black tiger. Yet after clashing for only one move, Uncle Feng was sent flying, coughing up blood. Fellow Taoist, this black tiger's cultivation has reached the half-step emperor realm. Relying on myself alone, I fear I cannot hold it off. I implore you to join forces with me to eradicate this beast, and upon my return to Great Qi, I shall surely reward you handsomely. At this moment, the black tiger took notice of me. It was astonished to discover that I possessed absolutely no cultivation base whatsoever. As for the two martial spirit realm cultivators behind me, it had long since dismissed them. Having lived as a tiger for so many years, it immediately realized that this was abnormal, truly abnormal. Thus it spoke to me in a booming voice. Fellow Taoist, you must not, under any circumstances, join forces with this masked man. Once I have devoured him, I will lead you to find far greater treasures within these ruins. At this moment, Mo Qingshou and the others suddenly realized the truth. So that was their scheme. Every action taken by Senior Gu was merely a ploy to lure this black tiger out. As long as we have this black tiger to lead the way, even if we cannot immediately locate the remains of the Dragon God Emperor, we have at least moved one step closer. Yet little did they know. The moment I laid eyes on this black tiger, my heart nearly leaped out of my chest. Seeing my hesitation, Shu Yan, in a state of desperation, revealed her true identity. Senior, if you are willing to join forces with Uncle Feng, I shall return to the Great Qi dynasty and personally ensure that my father the king confers a noble title upon you. To this I remained indifferent, revealing nothing of my intent. However, the battle had now reached a critical, vicious stage. With a single strike, the black tiger shattered Uncle Feng's internal organs. Yanner, run, Uncle Feng, no, I will not leave you. The black tiger's giant, manifested claws descended once more, possessing the power to topple mountains and drain the seas. Seeing this, Uncle Feng prepared for his final act, his body wreathed in a brilliant golden spiritual pressure. He'd not expect me to intervene or offer aid. Yanner, flee at once. With a thunderous boom, Zhu Yan fled, her eyes filled with tears. She swore that once she returned to the Great Qi dynasty, she would make this man pay in blood. I, this tiger, have always kept my word. You may speak. What treasure is it that you seek? Where lie the remains of the Dragon God? Are you truly speaking of the bones of the Dragon God Emperor? If that is what you seek, then I am afraid I cannot assist you. Did you not just claim that your word as a tiger is as good as gold? It is just that the bones of the Dragon God Emperor are located at the pinnacle of the heaven-questioning pagoda, at the very heart of the imperial palace. To reach that place, you must first obtain the permission of my father. However, he harbors a deep resentment toward human cultivators. If you go there, you will certainly be devoured until not even a scrap of bone remains. Therefore, I suggest you choose a different prize. What is your father's level of cultivation? Upon hearing this question, the black tiger immediately lifted its head in arrogance. It spoke with pride. The cultivation of my father. I fear the truth would scare you to death. Let us put it this way. Even the sages of your human race are nothing more than a mere slap away from him. He is a great emperor, is he not? Exactly. According to the realm classification of your human race, he is at the great emperor stage. How is that? Are you frightened yet? Yet, it did not anticipate that not only was I unafraid, but my face was filled with impatience as I urged it to take us there at once. Black Tiger was momentarily stunned. This was the first time it had witnessed a human cultivator so actively seeking their own demise. As it led the way, it thought to itself, Father, your son has come to honor you today. Elsewhere, on the 8th level of the God-questioning tower, a woman of peerless beauty sat cross-legged on the ground, her face twisted in agonizing pain as she exerted all her strength to circulate the spiritual energy in her dantian. However, all of these efforts were in vain. The flames within her dantian were incessantly incinerating her cultivation base. 9th tier Emperor Realm, 8th tier Emperor Realm, 7th tier Emperor Realm. In the span of a single hour, her cultivation plummeted directly from the 9th tier Emperor Realm to the peak of the Saint Realm, and it continued to drop further. The trial of this 8th level was, as expected, the curse of the heavenly Tao. In ages past, the Longshen Great Emperor had indeed overcome this final tribulation. She watched as she grew steadily weaker, letting out a long sigh, forced to accept the helplessness of this heavenly Tao curse. It was enough to cause her to lose her entire cultivation base. Dragon Godbone, I was still one step too slow. Eventually, all of her cultivation was consumed by the curse, and she was reduced to a mere mortal. At this moment, her body began to wither, and little remained of her lifespan. To think that I, Emperor Han Hai, have reigned over the heavenly prison for hundreds of thousands of years, only to ultimately perish in this insignificant tower. At the same time, we followed Black Little Tiger to the center of the Imperial Palace, where a larger tiger was currently dozing off. Allow me to introduce you. This is my father, Blackheart Tiger. So, is your name Black Little Tiger? Black Little Tiger, upon hearing this, wore a look of astonishment and asked, "How did you know?" At this moment, Mu Qingxue cast her gaze into the distance, discovering that Blackheart Tiger's cultivation had already reached the second-tier Emperor realm, with faint signs of a breakthrough to the third tier. Father, I have returned. You brat, you are still so young. Did you sneak off to the Spirit Herb Garden to graze again? I have told you many times. That is the medicinal garden of your uncle, the Longshen Great Emperor. Without his permission, you are not to go there to feed, even if it is only a few scraps of yellow-rank spiritual flora. But father, hasn't Uncle Longshen already passed away? That Spirit Herb Garden has long since gone to ruin. Nonsense. How many times must I tell you? Your Uncle Longshen is not dead. Not dead, do you understand? Black Little Uncle Longshen has withered away until only his bones remain. You still claim he is not dead? Do you take me for a mere 300-year-old child? You fool. That is the immortal husk left behind by your Uncle Longshen after his ascension. It is a profound destiny. It is precisely for this reason that many human cultivators have now infiltrated the Imperial Palace, all drawn here by these very remains. In the past I received countless favors from your Uncle Longshen. Therefore, remember this. As the guardians of the Tower of Seeking Divinity, even if we must perish, we are bound to protect the Longshen remains at all costs. Do you understand? The giant tiger spoke these words as it raised its head to gaze toward the peak of the Tower of Seeking Divinity. In truth, not long before, a formidable human cultivator had arrived and beaten it until it was left battered and broken. Boy, your cultivation has yet to reach the Emperor realm. Do not wander about recklessly, lest you be skinned alive by human cultivators. Father, you have spoken those words in reverse. Black Little Tiger licked its fur before gesturing toward the group behind it. Look at what your son has brought back for you. I wish to feast on one. Black Little Tiger licked its lips, then trotted toward a young, soft-skinned individual. These three look like their meat might be a bit tough, father. Do not be picky. I have truly matured and learned to show filial piety to my elder. The giant tiger felt comforted that its son had suddenly become so sensible. It was fortunate, as the fury in its gut had yet to subside. It could not defeat that previous human cultivator, but surely devouring these martial spirit realm ants would not be a problem. As it spoke, it charged toward us, launching an attack without a moment's hesitation. With dust swirling in the air, the giant tiger let out a booming laugh, swatting down with a palm intended to crush the three small human cultivators. This little game of stress relief made Blackheart Tiger feel slightly more at ease. However, a second later, its laughter came to an abrupt halt. For as the dust settled, the three of us remained standing there completely unscathed, without even a single speck of dust clinging to our robes. Seeing this, Blackheart Tiger's eyes widened in terror, for it saw that Mu Qingxue and Yan the old monster, who moments ago were merely at the martial spirit realm, now had their auras surging upward, reaching the great Emperor realm. Furthermore, they had clearly surpassed the second stage of the Emperor realm. Only the one in the center retained the aura of a mere mortal. Blackheart Tiger was no fool. It understood that the man in the center was the leader of the three, surely a titan among titans. In an instant, its fur stood on end, and it curled into a trembling ball. Black Little Tiger stared at its Emperor realm father, who now resembled nothing more than a terrified, puffed-up kitten. I truly do not understand, father. Why are you getting so worked up? What kind of thing have you brought back, you unfilial son? It is truly laughable enough to make me die of laughter. Following that, Blackheart Tiger hurriedly prostrated himself and bowed obediently before me. Honorable seniors, this child is young and ignorant. Everything before was merely a joke. It was all just a misunderstanding. Is the Bone Dragon God present in this place? In response to my question, Blackheart Tiger answered promptly, without the slightest hesitation or delay. Honorable senior, he is on the 9th level of the Asking God Tower. Father, did you not just say that you and the Dragon God Emperor shared a deep friendship, and that, even if it cost you your life, you would protect the remains of the Dragon God? Senior, do not listen to this unfilial son's nonsense. I am not actually close with the Dragon God Emperor at all. Watching Blackheart Tiger's groveling, dog-like behavior, at this moment, I finally understood why for so many years, the only figure of the great Emperor level in the Han Hai Heaven territory was the Han Hai Emperor alone. It turns out that after all this time, everyone here is just a spineless cur. Senior, if you seek the remains of the Dragon God, I implore you to ascend the tower quickly. Someone has already arrived before you. They must be on the 8th level by now. What? Someone has already ascended? Qingxue and old monster Yan exchanged a glance. Could it be the old sect master? Hearing this news, my heart became unsettled. I must seize the moment and not allow others to reach the goal before me. Otherwise, the hidden quest will not be completed, and the secret that I possess no cultivation will be exposed. Blackheart Tiger watched our departing backs and let out a long sigh of relief. How dangerous these humans today are, truly detestable. Coincidentally, at that very moment, 2 human cultivators arrived. Blackheart Tiger carefully sensed their presence again and again, discovering that they were truly only at the martial spirit realm. It then let out a roar, as if wanting to vent all the frustration it had suffered moments before, and cultivators perished. But the moment it let out that roar, the aura of the 2 people before it surged instantly. Surging directly from the spirit martial realm to the 7th stage of the Emperor realm, Li Yuan'e leapt into the air, appearing instantly above the black-hearted tiger, and delivered a crushing stomp upon it. Within the center of this imperial palace, there was unexpectedly a spirit beast of the Emperor realm standing guard. Shortly thereafter, Chen Yan arrived, clutching the heavenly secret compass. This tower before them was surely the god-questioning tower he had deduced earlier, and this guardian beast would likely know the precise location of the dragon god's remains. Yet before Li Yuan'e could even open her mouth to inquire, the black-hearted tiger proactively transformed and offered to guide the 2 seniors. The dragon god's remains were located on the 9th floor of the god-questioning tower, and the tower could only be entered by cultivators of the Emperor realm. 4 human cultivators had already ascended, and among them 1 had likely already reached the 8th floor. Hearing this, the 2 fell into deep thought. From the perspective of Chen Yan and his companion, anyone capable of entering the god-questioning tower must be an Emperor realm cultivator, which would mean it could only be the trio led by Gu Changfeng. But who was the 4th person? Hey, Chen Yan asked. You said you saw 4 people. Who is the other one? It is a woman, and her cultivation is incredibly formidable. You say the first person to enter the god-questioning tower was a woman? The giant tiger nodded frantically. Are you certain? 2 seniors, it is absolute truth. Upon hearing this, Li Yuan'e's expression instantly turned grave. It must be the Han Hai Emperor. She has naturally taken a step ahead of us and Gu Changfeng to claim the dragon god's remains. This news is extremely disadvantageous for both of us. Let us ascend the tower immediately and pay no further mind to this cat. Having spoken, Chen Yan and Li Yuan'e vanished like phantoms. Only after a long while did the black-hearted tiger dare to raise its head. Father, they have already departed. You may stand now. Stand? What do you mean stand? I can no longer bring myself to stand. At this moment, the black-hearted tiger felt a profound sense of existential dread. As a 2nd stage Emperor realm spirit beast, if it could not claim to be invincible within the heavenly prison, it was at least among the pinnacle of existence. Yet, today it had been suppressed 3 times over, possessing not a shred of the dignity expected of a mighty tiger. Are the humans of the outside world truly all this terrifying in their cultivation? Just as the black-hearted tiger fell into an endless loop of self-doubt, its father, the black tiger, cried out once more. Look ahead. Another group has arrived. The black-hearted tiger shivered uncontrollably. For this time, it saw a line of 8 human cultivators. Although these human cultivators all possessed the cultivation of martial kings, the sight of them sent a shiver down its spine. Quickly now, we must flee at once. The black-hearted tiger thought to itself, 8 martial kings are truly a terrifying force. Very quickly, the 3 of us reached the 1st level of the Tower of Seeking Divinity. This place was a void of deep blue chaos. As soon as Mo Qingshou and Old Monster Yan stepped inside, they felt the overwhelming pressure of an Emperor realm expert. This Tower of Seeking Divinity is truly worthy of being a 9th grade Emperor treasure. Merely on the 1st level, it already simulates the pressure of a 1st stage Great Emperor several times over. Senior Yan Yang, every time we ascend a level in this Tower of Seeking Divinity, the Emperor's aura grows 1 degree stronger. Old Ancestor Gu Changfeng clearly knows we cannot reach the 9th level, so why would he insist on sending us in? Little Shu, this is a trial for the 2 of us. After all, we have only recently joined the Heavenly Pole Immortal Abode. Senior Gu does not yet fully comprehend our true strength. We must seize this opportunity. Immediately thereafter, they followed me as I ascended to the 2nd level. This place was a void of dark gray chaos. The moment Mo Qingshou stepped inside, she coughed up a mouthful of blood. Little Shu, are you unharmed? She consumed a golden medicinal pill to regulate her breathing before slowly speaking. I am fine. Senior Gu has already reached the 3rd level. Let us make haste to catch up. The 3rd level was a void of reddish-brown chaos. As soon as Mo Qingshou stepped onto this level, her mind began to swim, and her entire body felt as though it were about to burst. At the same time, Old Monster Yan sat upon the ground to regulate his internal energy, consuming a high-grade holy healing pill. Are you 2 still capable of proceeding upward? My apologies, Senior Gu, but it seems we must stop here. Old Monster Yan, while regulating his breath, spoke from the side. Senior Gu, I believe I am still capable of reaching the 4th level. However, with every step he took forward, his movements were incredibly heavy, no faster than a crawling tortoise. Forget it, Senior Gu, I am able to reach the 4th level. Old Monster Yan secretly resolved in his heart that no matter what, he had to leave a favorable impression. There is no need. If we continue at this pace, the bones will have already been taken by those on the 8th level. Thinking of this, I left old Monster Yan behind and ran forward with all my might, determined to ascend to the peak of the Tower of Seeking Divinity in one breath. The fourth level was a void of dark golden chaos. The fifth floor was a chaotic expanse of dark emerald. The sixth floor was milky white, while the seventh was a celestial azure. In the blink of an eye, I had ascended to the eighth floor, completely unaffected by the pressure. This place possessed no color, only an immense blinding whiteness. In the very center, a woman sat cross-legged in meditation, and the surrounding area was entirely barren. Congratulations to the host for successfully triggering a hidden quest, a life-saving grace. Ensure this woman survives for 30 minutes. Success will grant a massive amount of reputation points. There is no penalty for failure. Do you accept the quest? A quest without penalties and only potential benefits. Of course, I must accept. At this moment, the complexion of the Hanhai Empress was deathly pale. She watched as a man with no trace of cultivation approached her, sighing softly in her heart, thinking that yet another soul had arrived to throw his life away. Indeed, no one could withstand the curse of the heavenly Tao on this 8th floor. The cultivation base of all who enter is inevitably devoured. Walked until I was less than 10 feet from her and sat down. Only then did I realize that this woman's appearance was truly magnificent. Apart from the slightly aged snow-white hair, she was undoubtedly unparalleled in beauty. When the Hanhai Empress saw me sitting so closely before her, she instinctively reached for her sword, but as she moved to retrieve it from her storage bag, she realized that she was now nothing more than an ordinary mortal. In the past, she sat atop the vast Hanhai Imperial Palace, and no cultivator had ever been able to approach within 100 feet of her. She was the namesake of the Hanhai Heavenly Domain, the sole sovereign who allowed no one to show her the slightest disrespect. However, today she could only mock herself in silence. Without a cultivation base, what point was there in clinging to the title of Empress? Thinking of this, she said no more, quietly waiting for her life to fade away. System, how much time has passed? Reporting to the host, only 3 minutes have elapsed. Perhaps it would be wise to head up and retrieve the Dragon God's remains first, to avoid complications. After all, she was faring well enough for now, and there was no penalty if she were to perish. With that thought, I strode toward the teleportation pillar to head to the 9th floor. Yet I remained unaware that the Hanhai Empress watched my retreating figure, whispering to herself, truly ignorant of the vastness of heaven and earth. But a second later, she was struck with astonishment, for she saw my figure step into the teleportation array, without encountering a single obstacle, vanished at the 8th level. How can this be? Could it be that the Emperor's might has lost its effect? She stood up immediately and walked to the teleportation array, but stopped with her foot hovering in mid-air, unable to step forward. She was certain that stepping inside would mean certain death. Immediately afterward, she considered another possibility, that the cultivator who appeared to be a mere mortal just moments ago might actually possess a cultivation level exceeding the 9th stage Emperor realm, having come from beyond the heavenly prison. This would explain why she had never encountered him anywhere else, on the 7th level of the God-questioning tower. Chen Yan and Li Yue, we are meditating and regulating our breath. There is only one level left. We can proceed to the 8th level. The fact that this Emperor's might still exists proves that neither the Hanhai Emperor nor Gu Changfeng has obtained the Dragon God's remains. Not to mention that Gu Changfeng is unfathomably deep. The Hanhai Emperor attained the 9th stage Emperor realm many years ago. Can we truly compete for it? Look, I have already made preparations. Chen Yan's hand suddenly revealed 2 black medicinal pills, though it was unclear when he had produced them. These were in fact the heaven-piercing mysterious pills. Correct. By relying on these pills, we can elevate our cultivation to the peak of the 9th stage Emperor realm in a short period. When that time comes, we will join forces to slay the Hanhai Emperor first, then eliminate Gu Changfeng. Li Yue nodded, then accepted the heaven-piercing mysterious pill. At this moment, she felt she had a 90% chance of securing the Dragon God's remains. However, when they arrived at the 8th level, the only person they encountered was the Hanhai Emperor himself, and he appeared to have lost all his cultivation. The two exchanged glances immediately, clearly unwilling to let such an opportunity slip away. Sectmaster Chen, Sectmaster Li, I advise you two not to be ungrateful. Hanhai Emperor, if your cultivation were still intact, I would indeed fear you by 3 parts. But now that you are merely a mortal, for this Sectmaster to kill you is as easy as turning over one's hand. Then, how can you be so certain that you can kill this Emperor? Upon hearing these words, Chen Yan and Li Yu immediately sensed that something was wrong. As soon as his words faded, the two suddenly felt their dantian ignite, as if consumed by raging flames. 7th tier Emperor realm, 5th tier Emperor realm, and 3rd tier Emperor realm, all within a single breath. Their cultivation bases plummeted instantly to the martial sect realm. Only now did they comprehend why Hanhai Deacon, despite being a 9th tier Emperor, had been reduced to a mere mortal. Quickly, while our cultivation still lingers, kill her now. Immediately following this command, the two surged forward with their remaining martial sect cultivation, attacking Hanhai Dekun. But before they could execute any technique, their cultivation vanished entirely, just as Hanhai Dekun had once been reduced to a mortal. The 9th floor of the Wenshan Tower. Upon ascending, I discovered the space was incredibly confined. Aside from a set of white bones resting within a golden coffin, there was nothing else. Is this truly the legendary remains of the dragon god? Why does it feel so ordinary? Saying this, I reached out my hand to retrieve a fragment. Suddenly, an anomaly occurred. A deep azure light manifested before the golden coffin, followed by a dark gray radiance. As these lights appeared one after another, I realized that the 7 rays of light corresponded to 7 colors, mirroring exactly the chaotic hues from the 1st through the 7th floors of the Wenshan Tower. They surrounded the golden coffin, spiraling incessantly as a ghostly apparition slowly materialized. I am the Dragon God Emperor. Who dares approach? You seek to inherit my legacy, yet you do not kneel? You decrepit old ghost, you are already dead. Cease your posturing. I have many pressing matters and no time for your tedious nonsense. As I spoke, I reached into the coffin and pulled out a piece of the remains, causing the apparition's light to dim instantly. Friend, please, you must not. Ignoring this, I smirked and withdrew the entirety of the dragon god's remains. Taoist, I haven't finished speaking. With that, the 7 rays of light converged, transforming into a manual, the 7-colored chaotic scripture. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the hidden task. Life-saving grace. The attendance function has been unlocked. At that very moment, on the 8th floor of the Wenshan Tower, because the dragon god's remains had been removed, the curse of the heavenly Tao that had permeated the area vanished in an instant. The cultivation of the 3 individuals began to restore itself. In less than 5 breaths, Hanhai Dekun had recovered her 9th-tier Emperor realm, and her snow-white hair returned to its original luster. In that moment, she gripped her Changfeng longsword and declared, "You are all as good as dead." Chen Yan and Lingwit Na immediately sensed the grave danger and swallowed the heaven-ascending mysterious pills. Are you both insane? This heaven-ascending mysterious pill may temporarily elevate your cultivation to the 9th-tier Emperor realm. But the price is that once the pill's effect wears off, your cultivation will plummet to the Saint realm, and you will never be able to make another breakthrough for as long as you live. Don't joke with us. Even if we don't do this, would you spare our lives? Furthermore, this path not only preserves our lives, but it also gives us the power to kill you. And most importantly, who knows, we might still seize the dragon god's remains. Compared to that, what is this small price to pay? Immediately thereafter, a violet gold flame condensed in Chen Yan's palm. At the same moment, a pale blue flame manifested in Li Yuani's hand. The two joined their palms together, fusing the flames into a singular volatile force. The Hanhai Emperor's pupils contracted. She could clearly perceive that the fused flame possessed a destructive power manifold greater than before. Ha ha ha, Hanhai Emperor, this is the Sun and Moon Divine Fire Art. In the ancient era, our sect's ancestor used this technique to slay a 9th-stage Emperor Realm Soul Emperor. You shall be the second to fall. A 9th-stage Emperor shall perish by this technique. The fused flame in their hands gradually took the form of a lotus bud, then surged toward the Hanhai Emperor with the ferocity of a lightning strike. As the smoke and dust dispersed, the Hanhai Emperor coughed up a mouthful of blood from her chest. Chen Yan, seeing that the Hanhai Emperor had survived the blow, felt a flicker of surprise. She was truly worthy of being the sovereign who ruled the heavenly prison to withstand such an attack. However, this is where it ends. Having spoken, the two fused their energies once more, preparing a larger flame lotus. The Hanhai Emperor's instincts screamed at her to flee. If she took another strike of this magnitude, her death would be certain. However, the God-questioning tower was a 9th-stage imperial treasure. Each floor within it was an independently constructed dimension, making it impossible to tear through the fabric of space to escape. Could it be that after dominating the heavenly prison for hundreds of thousands of years, I am truly destined to lose my life in this place? She stared at the flame lotus now closing in before her, succumbing to despair. Yet, at this hairbreadth moment of life and death, a handsome figure suddenly materialized before her, grasping the flame lotus, and with it seizing her final hope. It is fortunate that I arrived in time. I nearly wasted a mission assigned by the old ancestor. Senior, do not speak further. I shall ensure your safety. Watching the scene of the lotus being extinguished by a bare hand, Li Yuani felt a tremor of shock. How could this be possible? Has the cultivation of ancestor Gu Changfeng truly surpassed the 9th-stage Emperor realm? Do not be afraid, Yuani. Chen Yan analyzed the situation with a furrowed brow. He had descended from the 9th floor, and it was highly probable that he had obtained the inheritance of the Dragon God Emperor. If that is the case, then this God-questioning tower is effectively the home turf for ancestor Gu Changfeng. Being able to block the Sun and Moon Divine Fire Art is hardly worth mentioning. Furthermore, taking a step back, if ancestor Gu Changfeng's cultivation had truly surpassed the Emperor realm, reaching the legendary Tao-seeking realm, he would undoubtedly be rejected by the heavenly Tao. If that were not the case, the Dragon God Emperor would have had no need to ascend to other planes. Upon hearing Chen Yan's logic, Only then did the panic in their hearts begin to subside. The two joined forces, their 9-tier Emperor realm auras erupting to their absolute peak, once again unleashing the Sun-Moon Divine Fire technique, condensing a fire lotus even larger than before. Surrender the Longshen Emperor's heritage, and I shall grant you a swift death. A mere Emperor Realm cultivator, who has yet to reach the Martial King stage, dares to howl in the presence of this old ancestor. Gu Changfeng, I hope you can still manage to stand and speak with me after this. Emperor Hanhai, stay behind me. Gazing at the gigantic fire lotus hovering above, she was consumed by extreme tension, for she could sense that the moment this divine fire lotus detonated, even the 9th-tier Emperor-grade artifact, the Questioning God Tower, would crumble into ruins. However, a second later, the divine fire lotus, filled with such oppressive might, was extinguished instantly in my hand. Witnessing this scene, Chen Yan was so shocked he was left speechless. It was a technique he and Li Yu had exhausted all their strength to condense. How could such a formidable flame simply vanish just like that? Is that all you have? Immediately after, I spread my palm open. System, can this instant kill allow me to specify the effect? Yes, but it requires an additional payment of 500 reputation points to customize it into a Buddha's Fury Fire Lotus. In the blink of an eye, a brilliant multicolored lotus appeared in my hand, causing the surrounding space to fracture. Run. Faced with the terrifying power of the Buddha's Fury Fire Lotus, Chen Yan had only one thought: to flee as quickly as possible. The teleportation array of the Questioning God Tower was right behind him, less than 10 feet away. Yet, this short distance of 10 feet seemed like an insurmountable chasm to Chen Yan and Li Yue in that moment. The Buddha's Fury Fire Lotus bloomed above their heads, its multicolored petals raining down like a violent, tempestuous storm. Before they could even utter a scream of agony, they were utterly consumed by the blinding inferno. At the same time, on a distant immortal mountain, 33 tombstones that had remained silent for countless ages. Today they were suddenly silent no more. The soul seeds within Yuer and Yaner have vanished. An ancient, withered voice emanated from one of the tombstones. They have actually failed once again. Who could it be? Who is capable of killing Li Yue and Chen Yan? Who is it? Could it be the Emperor of the Vast Sea? No, she is merely a negligible pawn in this ancient game of chess, not worth mentioning. Then perhaps it is the Dragon God Great Emperor. Is it possible he left behind contingencies even after ascending? One after another, the same ancient voices echoed, resonating throughout the immortal mountain. Furthermore, the aura emanating from each of these voices contained a formidable imperial might, in no way inferior to the Emperor of the Vast Sea. Approximately a quarter of an hour later, these 33 tombstones gradually sank into the void. Following this, 33 primordial great emperors manifested from within the void. On the 8th floor of the God-questioning pagoda, Gu Changfeng's Buddha Wrath Fire Lotus had obliterated Chen Yan and Li Yuani, to the point that not even ashes remained. Yet it did not inflict the slightest damage upon the 9th grade imperial treasure, the God-questioning pagoda. The hidden mission Life-Saving Grace has been completed. Reputation points plus 9999. Ding! Because host has just completed a high-quality broadcast of reputation. An additional 5,000 reputation points have been added, totaling 15,000. Gu Changfeng was astonished by this hidden mission, as it had directly granted over 10,000 reputation points. And furthermore, by making a display of killing Chen Yan and Li Yuani just now, he had unexpectedly completed another high-quality reputation broadcast. Gu Changfeng turned to look at the beauty in the tattered armor and disheveled attire, reaffirming his initial intuition. This woman must be one of the few supreme experts in the Vast Sea Heavenly Domain, and her renown likely precedes her. But where in the Vast Sea Heavenly Domain could one find a female cultivator of such high cultivation level? Could she be the wife of the Emperor of the Vast Sea? As Gu Changfeng contemplated this, the heart of the Emperor of the Vast Sea was also in a state of great turbulence. This individual was none other than the Patriarch Gu Changfeng, whose fame had been spreading rapidly of late. She had never imagined that the Patriarch of a mere minor Holy Land would possess a cultivation level capable of surpassing her, the hegemon of the Vast Sea Heavenly Domain. She was even less prepared for the fact that, while her life was hanging by a thread today, she would be saved by Patriarch Gu Changfeng. Moreover, he had witnessed her greatest secret and was now staring at her, lost in his own wild assumptions. The cheeks of the Emperor of the Vast Sea gradually grew hot, flushing with a brilliant, vibrant crimson. Senior, you stare at me so, it makes me feel quite troubled. In the presence of Gu Changfeng, the Emperor of the Vast Sea had discarded her usual overbearing demeanor, appearing like a young maiden as she spoke. Gu Changfeng realized then that he had been staring at her for quite some time. Although the wife of the Emperor of the Vast Sea was beautiful, Gu Changfeng prided himself on his upright character and would never stoop to the act of coveting another man's wife. You must have been severely wounded in the previous battle. Gu Changfeng changed the subject. The Emperor of the Vast Sea looked down at her own injuries and spoke helplessly. Senior Chen Yan and Li Yuani used the heaven-piercing profound elixir to fight against me. I was struck by their sun and moon divine fire lotus. and was struck by his own sword strike. The power of these two attacks bordered on a curse from the heavenly Tao. Thus, the wounds were irreparable. Han Hai Emperor removed his shattered Scarlet Cloud Star armor, revealing skin scorched by the Sun and Moon Divine Fire Lotus. Seeing this, Gu Changfeng found it truly miserable, with the entire body suffering from third-degree burns. Surely some spirit flora or regenerative medicinal pills could restore his flesh. The Han Hai Emperor's expression turned grim, explaining that some wounds may appear superficial, but in reality they had eaten deep into the Dantian, rendering ordinary spirit flora or pills completely incapable of healing them. Furthermore, medicinal pills worthy of my cultivation level must at the very least be 9th-grade Emperor pills. Yet, even the Medicine God sect, the foremost alchemical sect in the heavenly prison, cannot procure the materials to refine a 9th-grade Emperor pill, let alone possess anyone capable of refining one. After speaking, the Han Hai Emperor retrieved a new set of armor from his spatial bag, donning it to restore his usual imposing aura. Gu Changfeng offered a few words of consolation before turning to leave. At that moment, she suddenly grabbed the corner of Senior Gu Changfeng's robe from behind, asking him to wait a moment. Han Hai Emperor, showing a feminine side, gently called out to Gu Changfeng, then withdrew a cluster of glistening translucent grapes from his spatial bag. Senior, please accept this. The Han Hai Emperor's face turned as red as a tomato. Fruit? It was the first time Gu Changfeng had ever seen such plump, succulent grapes, but in truth, these were not grapes. They were a variety of Emperor-grade spirit flora known as Sumeru Bodhi seeds, produced in the spirit herb garden of the Han Hai Emperor's palace, yielding only 3 seeds every 10,000 years. The cluster in Gu Changfeng's hand contained a full 30 seeds, representing the 100,000-year reserve of the Han Hai Emperor's palace. This is a local specialty from my homeland. It could indeed be considered a type of fruit. It was the first time the Han Hai Emperor had heard anyone refer to Sumeru Bodhi seeds as mundane fruit. Senior, I know not how to repay your life-saving grace. This is but a small token of my sincerity. I implore you to accept it. Should the opportunity arise in the future, I shall certainly visit your doorstep to properly thank you for saving my life. So, Gu Changfeng did not think much of it and accepted the gift. However, since you have offered me a gift, I cannot return it without a gesture of my own. Gu Changfeng pondered for a moment, then retrieved a bottle of shampoo and a bottle of body wash he had obtained previously. These 2 bottles are considered specialties from my homeland. They should be perfectly suitable for you. Chapter Supergrade Elixirs of Shampoo and Body Wash. Empress Han Hai accepted the 2 exquisite bottles with careful restraint, clearly sensing the extraordinary nature within them. The grade of these containers seemed to have already transcended the Emperor stage. Trading a stock of Emperor-grade spiritual herb for 2 artifacts beyond the Emperor tier, even she found it difficult to conceal the turbulence within her heart. Senior, these items are far too precious. I cannot accept them. Before Empress Han Hai could finish her sentence, Gu Changfeng opened the cap of the shampoo bottle, and a stream of refreshing fragrance wafted from the opening. Fragrant, how incredibly fragrant. Having lived for over 10,000 years, it was the first time Empress Han Hai had ever smelled a scent so fresh and alluring. Gu Changfeng instructed her to open her palm, then dispensed a small amount of the milky white liquid into it. This is shampoo, used specifically for washing one's hair. Following this, he opened the other bottle, and dispensed a few drops of the transparent, colorless liquid onto the arm of Empress Han Hai. This is body wash, used for cleansing the body. When you return and bathe, just use a small amount like this each time. Do not use too much. Gu Changfeng explained patiently, for the young woman before him was a native of this cultivation world, and she had certainly never encountered such things as shampoo or body wash before. Empress Han Hai was left completely stunned, for she had discovered that this fragrant shampoo and body wash were in fact super-grade elixirs that far surpassed the Emperor stage. This great kindness, Senior, this junior will engrave upon her heart. Empress Han Hai suddenly dropped to one knee and performed a profound grand salute toward Gu Changfeng. Gu Changfeng felt quite embarrassed. They were merely bath supplies. It seemed the people of this cultivation world were so focused on their path that they had neglected everything else. Their technological progress in this area was truly archaic. Very well, please. Stand up. Gu Changfeng waved his sleeve. This time he was truly prepared to depart from the Wanshan Tower. Senior, let me see you off. Empress Han Hai followed Gu Changfeng as they descended the tower. Gu Changfeng did not refuse. She used a hairpin to tie up her long hair, disguising herself once again in the appearance of a man. The 2 descended to the 3rd floor of the Wanshan Tower and encountered the old ancestor Liang and Mu Qingxue. Upon seeing Gu Changfeng's return, old ancestor Liang spoke with deep shame. Senior Gu, I have disappointed you. He had originally intended to ascend to the 4th floor of the Wanshan Tower. However, unable to endure the immense pressure from above, he had no choice but to return to the 3rd floor, remaining in the same space as Mu Qingxue. Mu Qingxue stepped forward to pay her respects, but just as she was about to speak, she saw Emperor Han Hai following closely behind Gu Changfeng. Emperor Han Hai. Seeing Emperor Hanhai appear within the god-questioning tower, Mu Qingshue's heart was filled with profound shock. Ancestor Liang shared the exact same sentiment. I know. Now did they realize that what the black-hearted tiger had mentioned to end earlier, regarding the armored Emperor Realm Cultivator, was in fact the very same Emperor Hanhai who dominated the heavenly prison. Emperor Hani was following behind Ancestor Tianji. What could this possibly signify? Both Mu Qingshui and Ancestor Liang, who had always been as cautious and composed as seasoned veterans, firmly concluded that Senior Gu must have successfully obtained the Dragon God's remains. And furthermore, Emperor Hanhai had not attempted to seize them. Most crucially, Sect Leader Chen and Sect Leader Li, who had ascended earlier, had not returned. This indicated that the two of them had successfully secured the favor of Ancestor Tianji, and they had done so magnificently. Have you successfully obtained the Dragon God's remains? Mu Qingshui asked. Gu Changfeng nodded. Ding. Host has successfully completed a high-quality reputation broadcast. Reputation points increased by 100. Oh, so I have farmed some reputation points. Gu Changfeng observed Mu Qingshui and Ancestor Liang, who wore expressions of sheer astonishment. He knew full well that these reputation points were farmed from them. It seemed that as long as he garnered reactions from great emperors, it was effectively considered a high-quality broadcast. However, the yield this time was somewhat lower, likely due to the diminishing returns of farming the same group of people repeatedly. Senior, who are these two? Emperor Hanhai walked to Gu Changfeng's side, eyeing Mu Qingshui and Ancestor Liang as he asked. Oh, these are elders of the Tianji Immortal Abode. I, this seat, have recently recruited Elder Su and Elder Liang as elders of the Immortal Abode. Emperor Hanhai hurriedly offered a respectful salute. Mu Qingshui and Ancestor Liang, seeing the high and mighty Emperor Hanhai, acting with such humility toward them, quickly returned the salute, not daring to be even the slightest bit negligent. Furthermore, had they misheard earlier? Emperor Hanhai had actually addressed Ancestor Tianji as Senior. If a peerless powerhouse at the peak of the 9th-tier Emperor realm acknowledged the strength of Senior Gu, then just how terrifying must Senior Gu's true cultivation level be? The shock from these events left their hearts unsettled for a long time. Even as they followed Gu Changfeng out of the Wenshan Tower, they had yet to regain their composure. The three of them reached the exterior of the tower, only to find that the black-hearted tiger, which once guarded this place, was nowhere to be found. Instead, it was Yi Feng, whom they had initially encountered outside the stone gates of the Dragon God Emperor's palace ruins, loitering outside the Wenshan Tower with 7 Martial King realm experts. Upon his first sight of the Wenshan Tower, Yi Feng sensed that the true grand opportunity of the ruins was likely contained within. However, he discovered that this pagoda was protected by an incredibly powerful restriction. No matter how fiercely he assaulted it, he could find no way to break through, as it was nearly identical to the restriction guarding the exterior stone gate. Therefore, he had been hovering around the Wenshan Tower, hoping to find an alternative method. It was not until Gu Changfeng's group appeared that he called out, "So it was you all?" Seeing Gu Changfeng's party emerge from the tower, Yi Feng immediately led his 7 martial subordinates to block their path. In his eyes, since the entrance to the ruins had been opened by this Grand Master of Restrictions, Gu Changfeng, then the restrictive seals of this tower must also be within Gu Changfeng's power to unlock. You have already seized the fortune hidden within this tower. Yi Feng's group surrounded Gu Changfeng's party, their eyes brimming with killing intent. Senior, who are these individuals? Hanhai Emperor looked at these ignorant martial kings before them. He had originally intended to strike immediately, but considering they seemed to have some prior acquaintance with Gu Changfeng, he remained somewhat cautious. I had a passing encounter with them outside the ruins. So that is the case. Hanhai Emperor drew his Qingfeng longsword and pointed it toward Yi Feng's group. Since this senior has had a previous encounter with you, I shall forgive your insolence this one time. If you do not vanish within 10 breaths, you shall bear the consequences yourselves. Under normal circumstances, she would not have hesitated in the slightest. She would have already decapitated these few martial kings with a single strike. Today, granting Yi Feng's group 10 breaths of time was an act of extreme leniency. However, Yi Feng did not take Hanhai Emperor's words to heart at all. In his eyes, Hanhai Emperor, who followed Gu Changfeng, was likely just like the others, a mere insignificant martial spirit realm cultivator. With his own strength added to the group, there were 8 martial kings in total, giving him the confidence to believe that even if Gu Changfeng, who was suspected to be, and he was 10 parts certain of victory, thus he issued an ultimatum to fellow Taoist Gu Changfeng. As long as you are willing to surrender the great opportunity found within the tower, I guarantee that you shall become a friend of the Yi family. If not, even if you manage to escape this place, the 4 martial sect experts of the Ye family will hunt you to the ends of the earth. Chapter 3. Subjugating the Imperial Pet, Unlocking the Beast Taming Function. Chapter 30. Subjugating the Imperial Pet, Unlocking the Beast Taming Function. Faced with Yi Feng's blatant threat, Emperor Hanhai directly unleashed a flying sword strike. In an instant, including Yi Feng himself, The heads of all 8 individuals plummeted to the ground. 10 breaths of time had passed. Emperor Hanhai retracted his long sword without a change in expression and stored it within his spatial bag. If these martial kings had not offended Gu Changfeng, she would not have needed to personally draw her sword to execute them. Afterwards, Emperor Hanhai raised her head to look at the Wenshan Tower and said to Senior Gu Changfeng, "This Wenshan Tower is a 9th-rank imperial treasure. Will you not take it with you?" Gu Changfeng shook his head and said indifferently, "There is no need." Qingshu and old ancestor Liang exchanged glances, unable to comprehend why Senior Gu would not take the Wenshan Tower. That 9th-rank imperial treasure is undoubtedly among the 10 most powerful treasures within the heavenly prison, and not even the 3 great divine sects have ever possessed one. Emperor Hanhai was also deeply confused. Because 9th-rank imperial treasures are incredibly rare, there are no longer any high-level artifact refinement masters in the heavenly prison capable of forging such items. However, if this was Senior Gu's decision, then there must naturally be logic behind it. Emperor Hanhai and Mu Qingshui both held this same thought. In truth, the primary reason was that Gu Changfeng simply had no idea how to carry away such a massive object. Deep within his heart, he shed a silent, sorrowful tear. These days without any cultivation base were truly agonizing. To gaze upon such a treasure, unable to take it or even utilize it, it was truly tormenting. Let us depart. Helpless, Gu Changfeng had no choice but to have Qingshui and old ancestor Liang lead the way out of the Longshan Imperial Palace ruins. The group followed the original path back, leaving the central Imperial Palace and arriving at the Spirit Herb Garden. As they passed through this area, the system's voice resonated once more in Gu Changfeng's mind. Congratulations to the host for successfully triggering the hidden quest, Subjugate the Imperial Pet. Quest objective, subjugate an Imperial tier beast guarding the mountain gate of the Heavenly Extreme Immortal Mansion, and unlock the beast taming system. The penalty for failure is a deduction of 10,000 reputation points. Do you wish to accept this mission? Ko Truongfong peered into the Spirit Herb Garden, only to discover that he had once again encountered the black-hearted tiger and the little black-hearted tiger. The mission prompt only now triggered. It was relatively straightforward, and Ko Truongfong accepted it without a moment's hesitation. Furthermore, the previous mountain-guarding spirit beast of the Heavenly Extremity Immortal Abode was merely at the early stage of the Saint Realm. It was hardly worth mentioning. If he could truly subdue the black-hearted tiger to guard the entrance, it likely caused the prestige of the Heavenly Extremity Immortal Abode to soar within the vast sea heavenly domain, and might even potentially boost Ko Truongfong's own reputation. With that in mind, Ko Truongfong led the vast sea emperor and the 2 others into the Spirit Herb Garden, tapping the napping black-hearted tiger on its side. "You little brat, I am trying to sleep. Stop making such a racket." The black-hearted tiger was in a deep slumber within the herb garden when it suddenly felt a tickle, assuming it was the little black-hearted tiger causing trouble. Ko Truongfong promptly slapped the beast, leaving it stunned. "You dare to cause a disturbance." The black-hearted tiger snapped its eyes open, intending to strike the little black-hearted tiger with its claw, only to discover that it was Ko Truongfong standing before it. "See, senior, why have you come here?" Startled by the sudden appearance of Ko Truongfong, the black-hearted tiger's fur stood on end, and it meekly prostrated itself at his feet. "I have already obtained the remains of the dragon god." Ko Truongfong looked down at the head of the black-hearted tiger. Upon hearing this, the beast's mind raced as it desperately tried to decipher the hidden meaning behind the statement. After 2 breaths, it realized that the senior was probing its reaction. Given that it had a significant history with the great Emperor Dragon God during the ancient era, the dragon god's remains naturally belonged to the senior, and his acquisition of them was a matter of great joy. Possessing an intense survival instinct, the black-hearted tiger completely severed its ties with the great Emperor Dragon God and took the opportunity to shower Ko Truongfong with desperate flattery. "Enough," Ko Truongfong interrupted. The black-hearted tiger promptly silenced itself. Ko Truongfong could tell that the beast was genuinely terrified and exceptionally skilled at sycophancy. Ko Truongfong cut straight to the point, stating that he was currently in need of a spirit beast companion. Before he could even finish his sentence, the black-hearted tiger eagerly agreed. "This junior is willing to serve as a beast under your command, senior." Truly remarkable. The survival drive of this black-hearted tiger was excessive, to say the least. Ko Truongfong did not dwell on the matter, instead asking the system how to tame the black-hearted tiger. Ding. To subdue a spirit beast, the host must redeem a corresponding beast-taming rope from the system shop. Ko Truongfong opened the shop interface. Relying on the instructions, he located the spirit beast item, a beast-taming rope specifically for fierce beasts of emperor-grade quality, priced at 99999 reputation points. "Damn it, what a profiteer," Gu Changfeng cursed involuntarily the moment he laid eyes on the rope. The amount of reputation points he had painstakingly earned from the previous hidden quest totaled exactly 9,999. Yet, a single rope here would drain his entire reserve. A profiteer, truly a profiteer. Ding. The host has been detected slandering the system. This serves as a formal warning. Gu Changfeng clicked the purchase button with extreme reluctance. He was certain that if he refused to buy it, this wretched system would surely find a way to deduct his points anyway. Congratulations to the host for achieving a new milestone. Gu Changfeng saw that the Big Spender achievement had been unlocked in his achievement list. If he made over 999 purchases within the system mall, he would even unlock the Tycoon Shopper achievement. Naturally, the Big Spender achievement granted Gu Changfeng an additional 5 reputation points. Yet, this feeling was much like buying a luxury Maserati only to be gifted a small discount coupon. It was an absolute swindle. Gu Changfeng picked up the beast taming rope, but just as he prepared to slip it over the Black Heart Tiger's neck, the beast recoiled. "No, master." The Black Heart Tiger spoke, trembling in fear. I have a request to make." "Speak. If I am to become your mount, master, may I bring my cub little tiger along with me?" Gu Changfeng had expected something significant. It turned out the beast only wanted to take its offspring along. Gu Changfeng agreed decisively, yet the Black Heart Tiger continued to pull its head back. "Master, there is one more thing, dare I speak? The remains of the Dragon God Emperor are not so easily exited for a father and son like us." The Black Heart Tiger flipped its body over in front of Gu Changfeng, revealing the white patch of fur on its underbelly. There, etched upon the white skin of its stomach, was an incredibly complex sealing formation. Years ago, after the Dragon God Great Emperor ascended, I promised him I would guard the Soul Inquiry Tower forever and protect his remains for eternity. Thus, I swore an oath to him. If I violate this prohibition, I shall suffer a soul-shattering death. There is such a thing. Gu Changfeng suddenly felt as though he had been, as expected. The voice of the system resonated once more within Gu Changfeng's mind. Ding. Does the host wish to use the instant seal removal function? Ding. The cost 10,000 reputation points. Gu Chang silently tapped the button to confirm the purchase. The sealing formation inscribed upon the white pectoral of the Black Heart Tiger vanished without a trace. Standing nearby, Emperor Han Hai and Mu Qingshui recognized instantly that this was the handiwork of Gu Changfeng, who could manipulate reality with such casual ease. The seal, once placed by the Dragon God Emperor, a master who had reached the Tao-seeking realm, had been terrifyingly profound. Seeing the restraint upon its body dissipate, the Black Heart Tiger became as excited as a kitten, voluntarily crawling toward Gu Changfeng's binding rope. Under the influence of the beast-taming rope, its colossal form gradually shrank until it reached the size of an ordinary tiger. Ding. Hidden quest subdue the Emperor tier beast completed. Ding. Beast taming function unlocked. Chapter 3. The Dragon God bloodline condenses into an egg. Chapter 3. The Dragon God bloodline condenses into an egg. Because the host has unlocked the beast taming function, a reward has been issued. Obtaining a Star 1 Emperor Grade Advancement pill, Gu Changfeng opened the beast taming interface and discovered a feeding feature. He tapped feed, and the Black Heart Tiger's cultivation base surged instantly from the second stage of the Emperor realm to the third stage. Observing the sudden transformation of its body, the Black Heart Tiger excitedly kowtowed to Gu Changfeng, thanking its master for the grace bestowed upon it. Emperor Hanai and his companions watched from the side, utterly stunned. To empower an Emperor-tier beast and force a breakthrough so effortlessly, such a feat is truly the work of a true immortal. Ding. The host has successfully completed a high-quality dissemination of reputation. Reputation points increased by 500. Gu Changfeng looked at the 500 reputation points added to his account, yet he could not bring himself to be joyful. With an indifferent expression, he addressed the sycophantic Black Heart Tiger. "Where is the Black Tiger cub?" The Black Heart Tiger hurriedly lifted its head toward the sky and unleashed a long, thunderous roar. Beneath the deafening roar of the great tiger, the Black Tiger cub appeared from the other side of the Spirit Herb Garden. The brothers, Sima Shun and Sima Ku in its maw. Zhao Cheng, consumed by rage, had been hunting the beast down. "Release them at once, you animal. Otherwise this old man shall ensure you find no place to be buried." Zhao Cheng struck down with a palm, conjuring a tidal wave of energy that tore through the earth and devastated a vast section of the Spirit Herb Garden. The Black Tiger cub quickly sprinted to the side of the Black Heart Tiger, casting the bound Sima Shun and Sima Ku onto the ground. "Father, I have captured 2 more thieves. I have brought them here as an offering to you." The Black Heart Tiger looked on with pride, using its massive tiger paw to pin the 2 men firmly to the earth. Zhao Cheng condensed his spiritual energy into wings and descended through the air. "You beast, let's see where you can run to now." So it is you." Zhao Cheng looked at Gu Changfeng and He Xiaohu standing together, his expression showing a hint of surprise. Gu Changfeng looked up to see Zhao Cheng manifest spiritual energy into a pair of wings. He felt a twinge of admiration, for as expected of a martial emperor powerhouse, having such magnificent wings sprouting from one's back is truly an awe-inspiring sight. "This fellow Taoist, your temper is far too volatile. That is not good. Come down here at once." Emperor Hanhai, seeing that this martial emperor seemed to know Gu Changfeng, chose not to draw his sword and instead invited him down to speak. However, Zhou was ignorant of the vastness of the heavens and the earth. Looking down from above at Emperor Hanhai, he declared, "A mere martial spirit ant dares to speak to this old man in such a manner." He then turned his gaze toward Gu Changfeng, threatening him aggressively. "Since you have appeared here, do you know this beast?" Gu Changfeng replied indifferently. "You could say that, Taoist. I suggest you choose your next words carefully." Zhao Cheng's cultivation-based sword, surging instantly from the peak of the martial emperor realm to the early stage of the martial ancestor realm. Indeed, to mitigate any risks, he had concealed his true cultivation from the very beginning. You are a rogue cultivator. To reach the martial emperor realm is already an arduous feat. Zhao Cheng looked at Gu Changfeng and his companions with contempt. "If you persist in your stubbornness, I would not mind sending you to your graves." Emperor Hanhai wondered if this man's mind had snapped. Are they exactly like those minor martial kings from earlier? Is there nothing but mush inside their heads? Who gave them the courage to speak such arrogant nonsense before a group of great emperors? Liang Jingru must have given you the courage to seek death. Just as Emperor Hanhai was about to draw his sword, he was forestalled by He Xiaohu. He Xiaohu's body began to expand rapidly, returning to his original colossal tiger form. From head to toe, he radiated an aura of terrifying intensity. "A mere martial ancestor dares to be disrespectful to my master? I shall tear you limb from limb." Zhao Cheng watched as the creature transformed into a gargantuan and monstrous tiger, only then realizing that he had inadvertently stepped into an abyss. What grade of spirit beast is this? As one of the few powerhouses in the great Jin dynasty, Zhao Cheng had even witnessed spirit beasts that had snatched away martial sovereigns in the past. Never before had there been an aura as terrifying as that emitted by the black-hearted tiger. Could it be that this black-hearted tiger, who had been concealing its true strength, was actually at the Saint Realm? Even if it were not yet at the Saint Realm, it surely could not be far off. Using the heaven and earth shift, Zhao Cheng poured every ounce of his strength into executing a sectier escape technique, desperate to flee. But the gaping maw of the black-hearted tiger was like an abyss, governed by the very laws of space. A mere martial ancestor like him had no hope of escaping. After a harrowing scream, Zhao Cheng was swallowed whole by the black-hearted tiger, reduced to nothing more than nutrients for its core. Following this, the black-hearted tiger resumed its normal size, obediently crawling to the feet of Gu Changfeng and began licking Gu Changfeng's leg. Truly remarkable. It certainly lives up to the reputation of a sycophant. Gu Changfeng thought to himself, "It seems this beast-taming ability is quite useful. At the very least, he now possesses an absolutely loyal Imperial tier beast." Sima Shun and Sima Shu, bound and helpless, witnessed the horrifying scene with their own eyes, nearly frightened out of their wits. This giant tiger was so powerful that it had swallowed a martial ancestor realm elder in a single gulp. Yet it submitted completely to the one it called master. Just how powerful has Gu Changfeng truly become? A saint. This senior must surely be a saint. Sima Shun was suddenly struck with realization and hurriedly grabbed Simaku by the neck, bowing repeatedly to Gu Changfeng. "This junior did not know of your arrival, senior. Please forgive my insolence. Although the great Jin dynasty rules over 10,000 miles of territory, it is merely a secular kingdom. According to the power hierarchy of the Hanhai Heavenly Domain, they are considered a fourth-tier force. As for the first tier, it goes without saying, the Imperial Palace, the 3 great sects, the 7 families, and the 10 Holy Lands. The second tier consists of the sects operating under the dominion of these supreme powers. Their sect masters are almost all at the Saint Realm. While the third-tier forces are essentially distributed outside the central regions of the domain, where the strongest combatants are generally at the martial monarch realm. Fourth-tier forces like the Great Jin dynasty have rulers whose strength is limited to the martial ancestor realm, and some weaker kingdoms do not even possess a martial ancestor, being led by those at the martial sovereign realm instead. All remaining forces reside on the fringes of the Hanhai Heavenly Domain, lacking any formal ranking. Consequently, as Simako and Simashun gazed upon the saint before them, they were struck by a profound sense of shock and terror. Years ago, the sect master of the third rank Kan Ha sect offended a saint, and as a result, that saint proceeded to bloodwash the entire sect. Furthermore, the 6 dynasties and 3 great clans under the jurisdiction of the Kan Ha sect were annihilated in a single night. "Master, how shall we deal with these two?" Black Heart Tiger asked, while grooming itself. Gu Changfeng recalled that when Black Little Tiger brought these two over, it had claimed they were thieves. "Did you two steal something?" Gu Changfeng asked. Saman and Sama stopped kowtowing, exchanged glances, and revealed the spatial bags hanging from their waists. "We truly did not know this belonged to you, senior. Had we known, we wouldn't have dared to steal it, even if we were given 100 times the courage." Black Little Tiger snatched the spatial bags from their waists, opened them, and retrieved an egg the size of a human palm. The item they had stolen was this very object, an egg left behind by the Dragon God Emperor of the past. Black Heart Tiger stepped forward and delivered a resounding slap to the back of Black Little Tiger's head. "You rebellious child. What do you mean, an egg laid by the Dragon God Emperor?" Furthermore, the master is standing right here. In the future, you must present such things to the master first. Do you understand? Blackheart Tiger took the egg and presented it into the hands of Gu Changfeng. Master, this object is actually the condensed essence of the Dragon God Emperor's bloodline. It is not merely an egg. But Mo Qingshu and Ancestor Liang exclaimed in shock. The Dragon God's bloodline. Chapter 032. Blocked at the gate by a group of martial sovereigns. Chapter 32. Blocked at the gate by a group of martial sovereigns. The Dragon God's bloodline. As Mongshui and Ancestor Liang looked at the towering figure of Gu Changfeng, they suddenly gained a deeper understanding. Ancestor Liang immediately sent a telepathic message to Mo Qingshui. Little girl, surely you have seen through this grand chess game played by Senior Gu by now. Mo Qingshui nodded gently and replied, I can basically see the shape of it now. Senior Gu personally journeyed to the Tower of Inquiry to retrieve the Dragon God's remains and his inheritance, then utilized the trio from Zhaocheng to obtain the Dragon God's bloodline, all while taking the opportunity to subjugate the Emperor-grade spirit beast guarding the tower. If my deductions are correct, Senior is aiming to replicate the legendary life of the Dragon God Emperor himself. Ancestor Liang stroked his beard in admiration and said, This is the breadth of vision, and the methods of Senior Gu. They are vastly superior to those of our old sect master. We are only worthy of looking up to him within these ruins of the Dragon God Emperor Palace. The Senior has now collected the Dragon God's remains, the Dragon God's inheritance, and the Dragon God's bloodline. With these three artifacts gathered in one place, could it be that the perfect conditions for the birth of a new Dragon God Emperor have finally been met? Ever since the Dragon God Emperor ascended, no one else within the heavenly prison has managed to do the same, as if a curse has been cast upon this realm. The eyes of Ancestor Liang blazed with intensity. Perhaps Senior Gu is the one destined to shatter this curse. At this moment, Mo Qingshui and Ancestor Liang felt their reverence for Gu Changfeng deepen even further. However, as Gu Changfeng held the egg in his hands, he could not help but ponder that it seemed no different from an ordinary chicken egg. Though surely it could not be intended for consumption, could it? Master, how shall we dispose of these two? The black-hearted tiger cast a cold glare at Sima Shun and Sima Shu, causing their hearts to leap into their throats. Gu Changfeng held the bloodline egg, only to realize that after a long while, no mission had been triggered, nor had any reputation points been added. It appeared there was nothing left of value to be gained from these two. Changfeng mused silently, a cold resolve forming within him to eliminate them. Both men were at the Martial King realm, and they had the backing of the great Jin dynasty behind them. To Gu Changfeng, they posed at least a modicum of a threat. If there is a threat, no matter how insignificant, Gu Changfeng must eradicate it. After all, he was no benevolent saint. He knew that only by being a cautious and calculating strategist could one truly endure for long. Deal with them. Gu Changfeng spoke with an expressionless face. The black-hearted tiger understood Amsun's intent immediately, opening its bloodthirsty maw, wide to swallow Si Shun and Si Shu whole. Thus, the Sima brothers met their end. Once the matter was settled, Gu Changfeng instructed Mo Qingshui and Ancestor Liang to continue leading the way out of the ruins. Gu Changfeng rode upon the back of the black-hearted tiger, and the group retraced their path until they reached the stone gate where they had first entered the ruins. As soon as the stone gate groaned open, they were met by over a dozen cultivators who had blocked the entrance completely. Among them was a face Gu Changfeng recognized all too well, staring at him now with malice and spite. So, you have finally emerged. The one who spoke was Xu Yan, who had narrowly escaped the claws of the black-hearted tiger earlier. After fleeing back to the Great Qi dynasty, she had reported everything regarding the Dragon God Emperor's ruins to her imperial father, Xu Xiao. On learning that the masked man had perished, Xu Xiao had been consumed by rage, and had rushed to this location, bringing with him the 4 great sages and the 12 Huban guards. These 16 individuals represented nearly half of the Great Qi dynasty's elite combat strength. Without exception, every one of them was a martial sovereign. As for Xu Xiao himself, he was at the peak of the martial ancestor realm, merely a single step away from entering the martial monarch stage. Yanner, is this the man you claimed stood by and watched as Uncle Feng died without offering aid? Xu Xiao stood draped in golden imperial armor. Squinting his eyes, he stared at Gu Changfeng, who was clad in snow-white robes. Because he had spent his life engaged in endless warfare upon the battlefield, his entire presence exuded an intensely overwhelming aura of slaughter. That's right, he is the one who caused Uncle Feng's death. Xu Yan reached out, pointing an accusing finger at Gu Changfeng in a fit of rage. Xu Xiao carefully appraised Gu Changfeng's party, only to discover that he could not perceive the cultivation base of anyone present, including Gu Changfeng himself. Father, they must be carrying a secret treasure to conceal their cultivation. Aside from that man white, who is likely a martial emperor, the rest of them appear to be at the martial spirit realm. Xu Xiao nodded, then turned his gaze toward the black-hearted tiger beneath Gu Changfeng and the black-hearted cub, which had transformed into an ordinary tiger nearby. They are merely common tigers, as Xu Yan said. These people's cultivation levels cannot be very high. Xu Xiao possessed a cultivation at the peak of the martial ancestor realm. Within the surrounding dynasties, he was undoubtedly a formidable powerhouse. Thus, he remained utterly confident in his own assessment. Does your majesty wish to capture them? The four great virtuous officials standing beside Xu Xiao stepped forward to ask. Xu Xiao waved his hand, stating dismissively that there was no need to rush. Then, adopting the posture of a superior, he spoke down to Gu Changfeng. You have been within these ruins for a full month. Surely you must have obtained quite a few fortuitous encounters by now? A month has already passed? Gu Changfeng realized that the flow of time within the ruins must differ significantly from the outside world. However, he offered no response to Xu Xiao, for he found himself quite vexed at this moment. He realized that ever since he retrieved the Dragon God's remains from the Asking God Tower, he had encountered far too many idiots along the way who failed to grasp the gravity of their situation, especially this Xu Yan, who was a textbook example of a brainless female character from a fantasy novel. Your Uncle Feng perished because his strength was inferior to others, yet you blame me for failing to save him? In the world Gu Changfeng inhabited in his past life, such behavior was clearly moral kidnapping, an act he despised and held in the highest contempt. What is it that you want? Gu Changfeng's murderous intent was already beginning to stir. Xu Xiao suddenly burst into loud laughter. It seems you still do not grasp the— Oh. The corner of Gu Changfeng's mouth curled upward slightly. Tell me, what kind of situation do you think I am in right now? I have 16 martial sovereigns, at my command, surrounding you at the entrance of these ruins. How do you find your current predicament? Father, do not waste any more words on him. I want to avenge Uncle Feng. Xu Yan interjected abruptly. It would have been better if Xu Yan had remained silent, but the moment she spoke, Gu Changfeng's mood instantly plummeted to the abyss. Ding, congratulations to the host for successfully activating a hidden quest. Showboating and face-slapping. Quest objective, perform the grandest display of showboating possible in front of Xu Xiao and Xu Yan. The system will evaluate the corresponding grade based on the host's effectiveness. Quest rewards. S grade grants 3,000 reputation points. A grade grants 1,000 reputation points. B grade grants 500 reputation points. C grade grants 100 reputation points. Do you accept the quest? Well, note, this quest carries no penalty for failure. The host may also choose to directly annihilate Xu Xiao's group to receive 500 reputation points. For Gu Changfeng, this old ancestor found the timing of this quest to be impeccable. He had already intended to discipline a brainless moral kidnapping brat like Xu Yan. Accepting this quest was perfect, and he could gain a significant amount of reputation points in the process. Showboating and face-slapping, is it? With several great emperors now at his beck and call, was it not effortless to display his dominance before a mere group of martial sovereigns? And so Gu Changfeng set his sights on Xu Yan first. He mocked her, saying, Your Uncle Feng perished in the ruins, simply because he was nothing more than trash. Naturally, you could just watch him die for your sake and flee in peace. That makes you the true piece of trash. Could this man be a martial monarch? Could this man be a martial monarch? What did you say? Hearing Gu Changfeng's stinging rebuke, Xu Yan was instantly enraged by shame. Sir, for a martial sovereign expert, speaking to a junior in such a manner is truly lacking in stature. Xu Xiao's eyes were filled with murderous intent. What is it? Are you dissatisfied? As the ruler of a nation, you indulge your daughter's reckless behavior, and you dare speak to me of stature? Gu Changfeng turned to provoke Xu Xiao. Xu Xiao let out a cold snort and said, Nonsense. Do you even know the identity of Taoist Feng? He was the nephew of Li Yunshan, sect master of the third-rank faction, the Qingshan sect. By standing by and letting fellow Taoist Feng perish, even I, as the sovereign, cannot evade the weight of culpability. Yet, what could a mere martial emperor like you possibly hope to achieve? Do you truly believe you can withstand the full fury of Sect Master Li? Regarding the death of the masked man Xu Xiao, in his capacity as the sovereign of the Great Qi dynasty, was in truth incandescent with rage. Firstly, Li Yunshan is an expert at the peak of the martial lord realm. The Great Qi dynasty could not hope to endure the scorching heat of his wrath. Secondly, he had worked tirelessly through his daughter Xu Yan to secure a foothold with the mighty Qingshan sect, only to have that connection severed due to the actions of Gu Changfeng. Combining these two factors, Xu Xiao knew he had to eliminate Gu Changfeng and his companions at any cost to provide explanation to the Qingshan sect. However, after Xu Xiao revealed the title of Li Yun, Gu Changfeng's reaction was far from the intensity he had anticipated. On the contrary, Gu Changfeng appeared remarkably composed. The Qingshan sect? Li Yunshan? I have never heard of them. Gu Changfeng stood with his hands behind his back, remarking dismissively, such arrogance and ignorance. Xu Xiao observed Gu Changfeng's tranquil expression. Though he issued a stern rebuke, he did not immediately resort to violence. As the sovereign of the Great Qi dynasty, he had witnessed many men fall due to their own hubris. So he intended to observe what hidden assurance this minor martial emperor possessed that allowed him to speak with such unchecked arrogance. Are you aware that Sect Master Li is a powerhouse of the martial lord realm? The fury of a martial lord, let alone a minor martial emperor like you, even I, and indeed the entire Great Qi dynasty, would be extinguished with a mere wave of his hand. Xu Xiao hoped that by revealing the martial lord cultivation of Li Yunshan, he might gauge the true nature of Gu Changfeng, yet his calculations were rendered utterly futile. He realized that the white-robed elder before him seemed entirely devoid of emotional turbulence, and there was not a flicker of change in his expression. Could it be that they are not mere rogue cultivators? This was the first thought that crossed Xu Xiao's mind, and, unfazed in the face of a marshal's lord, suggested that this man surely had a formidable backer. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully achieving grade C in the art of pretense. Oh, it has already taken effect? Ding. Since the host has reached the minimum threshold of the mission, the rewards may be claimed at any time. No need to rush. This is merely a passing grade. There is still significant room for refinement. Gu Changfeng prepared to initiate the next phase of his plan. Elder, seize Xu Yan and bring her here, but take care not to reveal cultivation beyond the appropriate level. Qingxue, hearing Gu Changfeng suddenly order her to capture Xu Yan, who was only at the martial king realm, did not fully grasp his underlying intent, yet she complied without hesitation. In truth, even including Emperor Han Hai, none of those present fully understood why Senior Gu would waste his time on a group of martial emperors. Naturally, they all believed that Senior Gu's actions were guided by his own profound logic. Sometimes, the seemingly meaningless tasks performed by a senior may in fact be the very beginning of a larger, carefully orchestrated scheme. Thus Mu Qingxue elevated her aura to the martial emperor realm, matching the 4 virtuous ministers under Xu Xiao's command. Then, taking advantage of a moment when Xu Xiao was off guard, she reached out, a massive palm manifested and firmly seized Xu Yan. By the time Xu Xiao reacted, it was already too late to intervene. Watching his daughter being captured, Xu Xiao roared in fury, unleashing the full extent of his martial sect cultivation, his overwhelming aura exerting a suffocating pressure throughout the entire canyon. Manchu paid him no heed, pulling Xu Yan toward her effortlessly. Xu Yan, at the martial king realm, attempted to resist, but she soon discovered a horrifying truth. The woman who had seized her was not merely a martial spirit, but a martial emperor guarding the princess. Seeing this, the 4 virtuous ministers immediately ordered the 2 Huban guards to charge forward and rescue her. Elder Lai Yang suppressed them, holding them back for the time being without taking their lives. Gu Changfeng had ordered the old ancestor Lai Yang to intervene. At this moment, old ancestor Lai Yang also raised his aura, reaching the realm of a half-step martial sect. Seeing this, Xu Xiao immediately signaled for the Huban guards to stand down. The 12 individuals cast a sharp glare at Gu Changfeng before retreating to Xu Xiao's side, crying out for their father to save them. Shen, held fast by Mu Qingxue, could not move a muscle. In her utter desperation, she turned to Xu Xiao for help, but Mu Qingxue immediately used her spiritual energy to seal her mouth. Yanner, fear not, your father will rescue you at once. Among all of Xu Xiao's children, Xu Yan possessed the greatest talent, having achieved the martial king realm before the age of 150. Moreover, she had received the favor of the Qingshan sect, and was destined to become a direct disciple of the sect master, with a future that was truly limitless. Yet, should Xu Yan fall here today, all these prospects would vanish like bubbles in the mist. Do not act recklessly, lest you invite disaster upon yourself. I shall not pursue the events of this day further. Xu Xiao sought to stabilize Gu Changfeng's party first, but Gu Changfeng was not so easily deceived. Do you even possess the qualifications? Gu Changfeng replied with cold indifference. Facing the unrelenting provocations of Gu Changfeng, Xu Xiao was now truly enraged to the core. As the sovereign of a dynasty and a peak-level martial master, when had he ever been forced to endure such humiliation? Whether I possess the qualifications or not, your excellency shall know soon enough. As he finished speaking, Xu Xiao gripped a long spear, radiating a murderous aura. The moment, bound and restrained, saw this spear, he knew his father was prepared to unleash his full strength. This spear is named the soul-devouring blood-gold spear. It has followed me across the battlefield for many years, slaughtering countless foes. It has already been refined to the level of a half-step martial lord weapon. Based on your current cultivation, you will serve as the perfect nourishment, allowing it to officially ascend to the rank of a martial lord weapon. Xu Xiao gripped the spear tightly and lunged through the air. Confronted by a martial master capable of killing him in an instant, Gu Changfeng, relying on his formidable courage and skill, gave the black-hearted tiger a firm pat on its flank. The black-hearted tiger immediately grasped Gu Changfeng's intent and began to unleash its true cultivation. Its aura surged at a speed visible to the naked eye, directly reaching the late stage of the master realm. With a single thunderous roar, Xu Xiao, who had been charging through the air, was sent hurtling backward by the sheer shockwave. The soul-devouring blood-gold spear slipped from his grasp and plummeted to the ground, a master-level spirit beast. Xu Xiao's face drained of color as fresh blood streamed down his left arm. Initially, he had assumed that Gu Changfeng was at most a martial emperor. But after witnessing the old ancestor Liang, who possessed the strength of a half-step martial master. He had revised his assessment, concluding that Gu Changfeng must surely be at the martial master realm. It was only when the cultivation of the giant beast beneath Gu Changfeng suddenly skyrocketed to the master realm that he finally realized he had kicked a slab of solid iron. For a cultivator to use a master-level spirit beast as a mount, they would need to be at least at the peak of the martial master realm. What shocked him even more was that this master-level spirit beast had actually managed to injure a peak martial master like himself. Could this man be a martial lord? Congratulations to the host for successfully reaching the level of a supreme show-off. Chapter 34. Why on earth would you provoke him? Chapter 34. Why on earth would you provoke him? Under Xu Xiao's vivid imagination, Gu Changfeng's mission to act arrogant and show off successfully rose to B rank. Your Majesty, are you all right? All right. Xu Xiao covered his bleeding arm with his sleeve, signaled for the 4 great sages to retreat, and then retrieved a copper coin from his storage bag. It emanated an ancient aura. On the obverse side of the coin were 4 eye-catching characters. Great Qi treasure. This was a luck-type spiritual treasure. Its grade was not exceptionally high, barely surpassing the sect level. However, it had been imbued with the collective luck of 437 rulers since the founding of the Great Qi dynasty. Upon a single glance, the black-hearted tiger perceived the extraordinary nature of this coin and spoke to Gu Changfeng. Master, although the grade of this coin is low, it has condensed an immense amount of luck. If he casts it, I would need at least the cultivation of a partial lord to have any hope of blocking it. The black-hearted tiger requested Gu Changfeng's permission to unleash more of its cultivation. Gu Changfeng nodded slightly, granting the request. Xu Xiao tossed the coin directly into midair, pouring every ounce of his spiritual energy into it. The coin spun rapidly in the air, causing a violent gale to howl through the canyon, sending sand and stones flying. Successive immortal emperors, I beseech you to protect our great Qi. Xu Xiao roared. The copper coin was nearly draining his spiritual energy dry. Above the spinning coin, faint ethereal figures of human cultivators seemed to manifest. Seeing these specters, the 4 great sages and the 12 tiger gallant guards fell to their knees in unison, kowtowing repeatedly. Kill. Xu Xiao pointed directly at Gu Changfeng. The spinning coin let out a sharp, piercing whistle before vanishing in a flash. In less than a heartbeat, the copper coin appeared right in front of Gu Changfeng. The black-hearted tiger surged its cultivation up to the martial lord realm, leaped into the air, and clamped its jaws tightly onto the coin. Boom. The copper coin detonated under the immense pressure of the black-hearted tiger's bite, crumbling into fine powder. How is this possible? The Great Qi's treasured artifact, blessed by the nation's luck, has been crushed to pieces. Xu Xiao could not believe the reality unfolding before his eyes and collapsed to his knees with a thud. The moment he looked back at Gu Changfeng, with a myriad of emotions swirling in his heart, he finally understood why this white-robed elder before him had remained completely unmoved, even after hearing the illustrious name of the Qingshan sect. While Sect Master Li Yunshan of the Qingshan sect was only a martial general, the mount belonging to this white-robed elder was already at the martial general rank. As for the true cultivation level of Gu Changfeng, Xu Xiao dared not imagine it any further. This junior was ignorant of the vastness of the world. I have offended you, senior, and I beg for your forgiveness. Ding, congratulations to the host for successfully reaching rank A in the pretentious display level. Just as Xu Xiao pleaded, Gu Changfeng had pushed the completion level of the hidden mission straight to rank A. Excellent. Gu Changfeng mused silently to himself, knowing that only one final step remained to complete this hidden mission perfectly. He intended to take Xu Yan away, and then force Li Yunshan, the man backing Xu Xiao, to go to Tianji Immortal Mansion to confess his crimes. Otherwise, regardless of the Great Qi dynasty or the Qingshan sect, all of them would be utterly wiped out. Only then could the impact of the display and the face-slapping be maximized, and only then would he likely receive an S rank. Within half a month, tell Li Yunshan to come to the south of Tianyu and meet this seat at Xuanyi Peak. Otherwise, bear the consequences yourself. As Blackheart Tiger carried Gu Changfeng soaring into the sky, the Hanhai Emperor immediately gave chase, transforming into a streak of light. Gu Changfeng's voice echoed across the heavens and the earth, lingering for a long time without dissipating. Your Majesty, the senior has already departed. Xu Xiao knelt on the ground for a long time before daring to lift his head, staring into the boundless horizon. His expression was ghastly, as if he had just suffered the loss of his own parents. Xu Xiao muttered to himself, Your Majesty, since things have reached this point, we should inform Sect Master Li first. The 4 great sages spoke up from the side to comfort him. We have no other choice. Xu Xiao speculated that if this white-robed senior had not killed them, it proved there was still a chance for resolution. Furthermore, the parting remark suggested that this senior might have some connection with Sect Master Lai. The only thing he could not fathom was which faction this Xuanyi Peak actually belonged to. 3 days later, inside the council chamber of the Qingshan sect, Xu Xiao recounted the truth of the events clearly and concisely to Li Yunshan. Xuanyi Peak. A Upon hearing this, Li Yunshan felt the name sounded somewhat familiar, but he could not recall it at that moment. Sect Master Shu, what did this senior you suspect to be a sage look like? Shu Xiao carefully recalled the details and said, he was an elderly man dressed in long white robes. Li Yunshan rolled his eyes at Shu Xiao and pressed him further. Are there any other significant features? Yes. This senior has a mount, a fierce tiger at the Marshal General rank. However, even with a Marshal General rank mount, Li Yunshan continued his inquiry. Are there any other distinguishing features? Shu Xiao pondered for a moment, eventually recalling the two details that left the deepest impression on him. That's right. Whenever that senior spoke, he always enjoyed keeping his hands clasped behind his back, and furthermore, his face remained almost entirely devoid of any unnecessary expression, just like this. Shu Xiao mimicked Gu Changfeng's expression, stiffening his face as he put on a facade of profound gravity. Upon seeing Shu Xiao's uncanny imitation, Li Yunshan immediately thought of a certain individual, standing there with hands clasped in white robes, his face rigid and emotionless. Damn it all, that is the Tianji old ancestor. Li Yunshan's entire body went limp, collapsing into his chair. This wretch Shu Xiao had brought 1,000 disasters upon them. Old Sect Master Li, are you all right? Am I all right? Li Yunshan struggled to drag himself up from the chair before delivering a resounding slap across Shu Xiao's face, nearly killing the man on the spot. Do you even realize what kind of existence you have provoked? Half a month ago, Li Yunshan had attended the Elder Recruitment Assembly at the Tianji Immortal Mansion, where he witnessed with his own eyes the Tianji old ancestor pierce the firmament with a single finger, instantly annihilating the great Emperor Yi Fan. Clutching a swollen, inflamed cheek, Shu Xiao asked timidly, is he not just a saint-level ancestor of some second-rate power? A second-rate power? Let out a cold, sharp laugh. Shu Xiao, you have spent all these years running amok in your tiny dynasty. Have you truly forgotten what the name Tianji signifies? Tianji Immortal Mansion. Shu Xiao woke up as if from a dream. That senior was actually the ancestor of the Tianji Immortal Mansion. How can this be? Shu Xiao could not fathom it. The Tianji Immortal Mansion was one of the 10 great sacred lands. Why would its ancestor appear in such a remote, insignificant place near the great Qi dynasty? Could it be that the news regarding the Dragon God Emperor's ruins was leaked by the Tianji old ancestor himself? Sect Master Li, what should we do? What else can we do? Since the Tianji old ancestor has commanded me to go to Xuanyi Peak of the Tianji Immortal Mansion, do I dare refuse? Li Yunshan glared at Shu Xiao, truly tempted to strike him dead with a single palm. Shu Xiao, tell me, why on earth would a mere martial sect practitioner like you choose to oppose an emperor? Shu Xiao wore an expression of utter grievance, implying that he had no desire to be in such a position either. I see you are truly dancing on a tombstone. Your boldness is nothing short of reckless. Chapter 3 finished. We have both become nothing more than chess pieces. After 3 years, we have reached our end. We have both become mere chess pieces in a greater game. Sect Master Li, you must save me. Shu Xiao, having completely abandoned the dignity of a sovereign of his own imperial dynasty, on the ground and clutched Li Yunshan's legs in desperate supplication, only to be kicked away by Li Yunshan. Save you? I can barely secure my own life, let alone yours. Li Yunshan felt that he was truly suffering from the worst possible misfortune this time. Yet, as he pondered it further, the situation did not seem so simple. He was merely a minor martial lord, an existence no different from an ant in the eyes of a great emperor. How could he have possibly caught the attention of the Tianji old ancestor? Thinking it over, Li Yunshan realized that the crux of the problem lay with Xu Yan. Upon this realization, a cold sweat to bead on Li Yunshan's back. It turned out the Tianji old ancestor had known all along. Seeing Mu Xian's sudden epiphany, Shu Xiao asked in confusion, what about Yanner? Li Yunshan lowered his head and stared intently at Shu Xiao. Xu Yan is likely a pivotal chess piece in the machinations of some great power. Shu Xiao was left in a state of bewilderment. Could it be because of Yanner's natural talent? Li Yunshan cast a sidelong glance at him. In your great Qi dynasty, Xu Yanner's talent might indeed be considered that of a heaven-favored prodigy. Even within my King Shan sect, among our many core disciples, she would be considered an outstanding talent, but within some second-tier powers, her talent would only be considered average. To be frank, among the holy sons and holy maidens of the 10 great sacred lands, who among them has not attained the martial lord realm before the age of 100? Therefore, a 150-year-old martial king like Xu Yanner is simply not worthy of the Tianji old ancestor's attention. Yet the Tianji old ancestor took Xu Yanner away for what reason? After hearing Li Yunshan's words, Shu Xiao became even more perplexed. The Tianji old ancestor is a magnificent great emperor. Why would he go to such great lengths? Why would he take my Yanner back to the Tianji Immortal Palace? Sect Master Li, Li Yunshan let out a long sigh and helped Shu Xiao back into the sovereign's chair. Do you know why I suddenly took Yanner as a core disciple? Shu Xiao looked puzzled. Is it not because of Yanner's talent? Li Yunshan shook his head. Since it has reached this point, I will hide it from you no longer, accepting Xu Yanner into the King Shan sect. In truth, it was entirely an arrangement orchestrated by the 7 great families. No, to be precise, it must now be called the 6 great families. Tu Xiao exclaimed in shock. How could my daughter, Yanner, possibly be involved with an entity as colossal as the 6 great families? Li Yunshan gently patted Tu Xiao, the sovereign of 2, on the shoulder. That is why I said that Shu Yan being taken away by the Tianji Patriarch is linked to the grand schemes played out by these major powers. Now it is not just Yanner. Both you and I have been drawn deep into this game of chess. Li Yunshan spoke, with a tone laden with hidden meaning. 3 months ago, the Xiao family, one of the 6 great families, dispatched an emissary at the Saint Realm to the Qingshan sect, instructing me to accept Shu Yan as a disciple for a temporary period of 1 year. Upon his departure, he left behind an identity medallion of the Xiao family, and repeatedly warned me that this matter must never be disclosed. At the time, I could not comprehend it. Even if Shu Yan's natural talent was exceptional, it would not be enough to entice a heavenly prison family to go through the trouble of sending a saint. But now, I understand. Li Yunshan took out an identity medallion engraved with the character Xiao and placed it on the edge of the table. This is the medallion of the Xiao family. Li Yunshan stroked his beard and continued, according to our agreement, I was supposed to wait a full year before using it to contact the Xiao family. But now, the appearance of the Tianji Patriarch to forcibly take Shu Yan away has exposed the situation, and I am compelled to report the circumstances immediately. Otherwise, should the heavenly prison family grow enraged, Sovereign 2, whether it be my Qingshan sect or your great Qi imperial dynasty, would be reduced to ashes in the blink of an eye. Li Yunshan immediately channeled his spiritual energy into the Xiao family's medallion. Tu Xiao, standing by his side, was extremely tense. Cold sweat dripped onto the ground like raindrops. The 2 men watched as, under the continuous influx of spiritual energy, the character Xiao on the medallion gradually faded before vanishing entirely. Immediately afterward, the medallion began to burn. A phantom image appeared within the resting chamber. Although the phantom was somewhat hazy, Li Yunshan recognized its identity at a single glance. He hastily pulled Tu Xiao down with him to kneel respectfully before this figure. Lingshu Saint was the emissary previously dispatched by the Xiao clan to the Qingshan sect. Within the projection, Lingshu Saint gazed down at Li Yunshan and Shu Xiao as they knelt upon the ground, then calculated with his fingers, realizing that the 1-year deadline was still far off. Li Yunshan, the time for our agreement has not yet arrived. Why have you presumed to activate the medallion? Senior, please forgive me. Junior has a matter of the utmost importance to report urgently regarding Shu Yani. Speak. Ling Saint was instantly seized by a surge of fury, for in his capacity as an emissary of the Xiao clan, should he fail to bring Shu Yani back according to the plan, he would face a severe, non-negligible punishment. This matter must be explained starting with Shu Yani, Li Yunshan recounted, with absolute clarity and precision, the sudden appearance of the Tiangui old ancestor within the territory of the great Qi dynasty, and how he subsequently took Shu Yani away. Shu Xiao knelt alongside him, trembling uncontrollably, not daring to cast even a single glance at Lingshu Saint. Li Yunshan, are you certain it was the Tiangui old ancestor? Is there no mistake? Li Yunshan resolutely affirmed. The Tiangui old ancestor even instructed me to travel to Xuanyi Peak within 1 month. Xuanyi Peak? Within the projection, the complexion of Lingshu Saint grew hideously grim, and he fell into deep, contemplative thought. He was pondering just when the Tiangui old ancestor had discovered the scheme set in motion by the clan elders. Years ago, in order to ensure the affair of Shu Yani remained concealed, the elders of the Xiao clan had paid a monumental price, erasing the karma intertwined with the matter. It was done specifically to guard against the calculations of grand masters like the Tiangui old ancestor. Yet, it appeared to have been in vain. The Tiangui old ancestor had still managed to calculate the truth, and furthermore, had intercepted and taken Shu Yani away first. Could it be that the Tiangui old ancestor has reached the realm where he can ignore karma and peer into the secrets of heaven at will? If that is truly the case, the Tiangui old ancestor is far too terrifying. Lingshu Saint resolved to return at once, to report the matter to the clan elders, so they could determine the next course of action. Li Yunshan, this matter is of the utmost gravity. What are we to do now? You shall temporarily await my instructions. After Lingshu Saint finished speaking, the Xiao clan medallion burned to ashes, and the projection vanished abruptly. The deliberation hall returned to silence, occupied only by Li Yunshan and Shu Xiao. Sectmaster Li, what do we do next? Even after Lingshu Saint had disappeared, Shu Xiao remained in a state of extreme terror. Li Yunshan did not hesitate, stating with ironclad conviction, we go to Xuanyi Peak. Go to Xuanyi Peak? Si Xiao exclaimed in shock. Didn't the saint say just moments ago that we should wait for news? You fool. Li Yunshan rebuked him loudly. We cannot afford to offend the Xiao family, but do you think the Tianji Immortal Mansion dares to do so? From the Qingshan sect to the Tianji Immortal Mansion, with my cultivation at the Martial Monarch realm, it will take me no more than 3 days at most to arrive. Yet the Tianji ancestor has given me 1 month. For what reason? The Tianji ancestor is using me as a pawn to test the reaction of the 6 great families. Chapter 036. Achieving the Martial Spirit Realm. Chapter 036. Achieving the Martial Spirit Realm. Upon such realization, prompted by Li Yunshan, Sixiao immediately understood. Li Yunshan added, "As pawns for such influential figures, we need only perform our duties as pawns. As for the outcome of the game played between the Tianji ancestor and the Xiao family, that is not for us to contemplate. Sect, Masterly, then allow me to accompany you to Xuanyi Peak to offer an apology." No. Li Yunshan flatly refused Sixiao. "The Tianji ancestor specifically summoned me alone, therefore you cannot go. After I depart from the Qingshan sect, you shall remain here for the time being, and await word from Saint Lingshu." Having said this, Li Yunshan transformed his spiritual energy into wings, and soared out of the Qingshan sect, vanishing like a shooting star without a trace. Within the conference hall, Xiao's heart remained far from tranquil. Elsewhere, in the territory of the Xiao family, Saint Lingshu knelt before the assembled elders of the Xiao clan, reporting in detail the incident regarding the Tianji ancestor taking Yan away. "Very well, Yanner, you may withdraw for now. Xiao Yan is the true name of Saint Lingshu, and the one who ordered him to withdraw was his father, Xiao Zhen, who possesses a cultivation at the peak of the 3rd stage Emperor realm, and concurrently serves as the current patriarch of the Xiao family. Sitting on either side of him were the first elder, Xiao Hao, and the second elder, Xiao Kong, of the Xiao family. First elder, second elder, what are your thoughts on this matter regarding the Tianji ancestor?" After Xiao Yan had withdrawn, Xiao Zhan asked slowly. The 2 elders exchanged glances before speaking in unison that the patriarch should temporarily avoid the brunt of the storm. First elder Xiao Hao continued, "The Tianji old ancestor is at the zenith of his power like the midday sun. First, he eradicated the 3 great sacred lands. Then he executed the madman of the scattered cultivators at the Emperor realm. Most crucially, the sudden withdrawal of the Yin clan suggests that his strength is at least above the 3rd stage Emperor realm." Second elder Xiao Kakong added. "Furthermore, the ancient bloodline flowing within Shuyan is not solely of interest to the Xiao clan. Even if we do not act, the other 5 great families will likely not remain idle." Xiao Zhan frowned, lifting his teacup. "However, the other great clans may not be willing to be the first to provoke him. Patriarch, this matter is easily resolved." Xiao Hao said, "We simply need to present that cyan treasure gourd to the Tianji old ancestor." "Present it to the Tianji old ancestor." Xiao Zhan hesitated. "Didn't the Yin clan previously offer the purple treasure gourd to the Tianji old ancestor?" Xiao Kong replied that the patriarch could certainly follow suit, which would surely incite the other families to make their move in a month's time. Upon hearing the words of the 2 elders beside him, Xiao Zhen no longer hesitated and directly retrieved the Xiao clan's ancestral treasure, the cyan treasure gourd, and said to the 2 elders, "I wonder which of you is willing to make a trip to the Tianji immortal abode." Xiao Hao and Xiao Kong simultaneously shook their heads before saying, "Perhaps we should let Yanner go." After departing the remains of the Lokanshan Imperial Palace, the Hanhai Emperor parted ways with Gu Changfeng and his group. Currently, Gu Changfeng has returned to the Tianji immortal abode. At this moment, Shuyan is bound and suspended beneath the rafters of the Tianji main hall. She is unable to circulate the spiritual energy within her dantian, nor can she speak. She can only watch helplessly as the black little tiger below her licks its lips at her. This is the Tianji immortal abode, one of the 10 great sacred lands, a place that Shuyan once admired beyond measure. Even in her wildest dreams, she could not have imagined entering the Tianji immortal abode in such a manner. Furthermore, she now understands that the white-robed old man, who appeared to possess no cultivation whatsoever, was in fact the very ancestor of the Tianji immortal abode. Tears streamed from her eyes, flowing down to the ground like the waters of a bursting river. "I was truly so foolish." Gu Changfeng instructed Zhejiantian to guard Shuyan with the utmost vigilance, and ordered him to send word the moment Li Yunshan arrives at Xuanyi Peak. As for himself, he rode atop his black tiger to enjoy the breeze throughout. This is the first time in 100 years that he has viewed the full majesty of the Tianji immortal mansion. 108 sacred peaks stand tall, piercing through the clouds. Palaces and pavilions are scattered in an orderly and magnificent display. The scenery is breathtaking and refined. At last, he no longer needs to remain sequestered within the Taihu Palace. Gu Changfeng could not help but marvel at the beauty of life. As the elders and newly joined disciples of the sacred ground looked up to behold Gu Changfeng roaming through the blue clouds, a buzz of discussion erupted among them. "Look quickly, the old ancestor has finally stepped out of Taihu Palace today. Hey, is that massive tiger the old ancestor's mount? I have never seen it before. It looks truly imposing." The black heart tiger, appearing majestic and awe-inspiring, drew the envious admiration of many female disciples. In the eyes of the elders, however, the scene took on a different meaning. The black heart tiger prowled above the Tianji immortal mansion, appearing effortless, yet it was clearly and intentionally releasing a formidable emperor's aura. Furthermore, power was by no means inferior to that of Chu Quangren in the past. The old ancestor spirit beast must be at the emperor stage. To have an emperor-grade spirit beast as a mount, the old ancestor's cultivation truly defies the heavens and shakes the earth. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully completing a group prestige points gathering. Prestige points +1, prestige points +3, prestige points +6. The points are rising continuously. The system's voice rang out suddenly. Gu Changfeng did not expect that merely taking a ride would allow him to show off. Thus, he decided to ride the Black Heart Tiger for a few more laps around the Tianji Immortal Mansion, milking every drop of prestige before finally returning to Taihu Palace. Ding. A reminder to the host, you have not yet checked in for the day. Check in? Gu Changfeng only then remembered that after completing the mission at the ruins of the Longshan Emperor Palace, the check-in function had been unlocked. He had yet to tap on it to see what kind of rewards it might offer. Gu Changfeng opened the interface. To be honest, he did not hold high hopes for the system's offerings. After all, he had previously drawn items like digestive tablets, shampoo, and body wash. Consequently, Gu Changfeng assumed the check-in rewards would be of similar nature, likely not much better. However, when he saw the reward on the check-in board, his entire body trembled with excitement. System, you aren't joking with me, are you? The daily check-in rewards were actually pure cultivation points. Gu Changfeng had been transmigrated to the Hanhai Heavenly Domain for over 100 years now. Not a single moment had passed where he did not yearn to experience it, wondering what it truly felt like to possess cultivation. And now, every time he performed this daily check-in, he could increase his cultivation level. Although today's check-in only granted him the cultivation of the martial spirit realm, Gu Changfeng was already immensely satisfied. Without a moment's hesitation, he tapped on the check-in button. Ding. Host has successfully checked in. Rewards are being distributed. In an instant, as the system's voice echoed, Gu Changfeng felt a dry heat coursing through his body, accompanied by a faint tingling sensation. He knew well that this was a sign of his meridians being reconstructed. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully entering the martial spirit realm. At that very moment, Gu Changfeng's aged body became youthful and vigorous in the blink of an eye, and the snow-white hair atop his head transformed into a deep raven black. He was no longer the elderly figure with the appearance of a celestial sage, but a refined and dashing young man in white robes, possessing an effortless grace. His appearance was truly striking. He was now a martial spirit expert. Aboard the back of the black-hearted tiger, Gu Changfeng wept with joy, overcome with immense emotion. A martial spirit expert is capable of materializing spiritual energy, for instance, shaping spiritual energy into eye-catching armor. However, Gu Changfeng currently desired to materialize something else entirely. He urged the spiritual energy within his dantian, channeling it toward his palms, gradually condensing it into a transparent mirror. Gazing at his long, flowing hair within the reflection, Gu Changfeng sighed, acknowledging his own appearance. It was truly exceptionally handsome. Chapter 37. The Patriarch's Demonic Beast challenges a menial disciple. Chapter 37. The Patriarch's Demonic Beast challenges a menial disciple. With phoenix-like eyes and a transcendent aura, he muttered, "Truly, this is me, Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully triggering a side quest. Challenge a disciple. The objective of the quest is to spar with a disciple of the Tianji Immortal Mansion and achieve victory. The quest reward: 2 opportunities for a prize draw. The penalty for failure is currently unknown." Without even a moment to accept or decline, another task had arrived. After Gu Changfeng had finished admiring himself for a while, the system's voice, announcing the mission, appeared once more. He glanced over it briefly. The task appeared to be quite simple. Thus, Gu Changfeng decided to ride his black-hearted tiger and find a disciple within the Holy Land to test his new martial spirit realm strength. As luck would have it, he was also keen to experience what a battle between martial spirit powerhouses felt like. Naturally, he would not dare dream of challenging the Holy Son or the Holy Daughter. They were already martial lords, and Gu Changfu would not be able to defeat them. As for the inner circle elders, it went without saying. Most were at the peak of the martial ancestor realm, and he certainly could not contend with them either. The chief inner sect disciple, a martial emperor, could not defeat him. The chief outer sect disciple, a martial king, could not defeat him either. Gu Changfeng pondered for a long time, only to realize that with his current cultivation at the martial spirit realm, he seemed capable of acting domineeringly only among the menial disciples. Menial disciples, it is. Xuanyi Peak just happens to be the place where the menial disciples train daily. Changfeng rode his Blackheart Tiger, slowly and leisurely approaching Xuanyi Peak. Trash, you are all nothing but trash. There is only 1 month remaining until this year's examination for promotion to outer sect disciples. Time is running out, and with cultivation as lax as yours, none of you have even reached the martial king realm. How do you expect to pass the examination when the time comes? On the martial arts arena, an elder responsible for training the menial disciples was sternly lecturing over 3,000 menial disciples. More than half of these menial disciples were at the martial spirit realm, with a small number having already reached the peak of the martial spirit realm. At this moment they stood in neat rows, all keeping their heads bowed low, not daring to meet the elder's gaze. This old man knows that many of you were once royalty of an empire, or geniuses of a clan or sect. You may feel unwilling to accept this, believing that reaching the martial spirit realm before the age of 200 is already quite formidable. However, what this old man wants to tell you is that the previous holy son, Yang Lei, also started as a menial disciple and achieved the path of a martial monarch by the age of 86. And what about you? The crisis is at your doorstep, yet you refuse to strive for improvement. Some of you are even still gathering and engaging in debauchery right before the examination. I will say this one last time, within this month. If anyone is caught by the managing elders, they will be immediately expelled from Xuanyi Peak. As he spoke, the elder's fury surged to its peak. His eyes widened until they looked like lanterns. He was enraged by their failure to live up to expectations, pointing his finger directly at the 3,000 menial disciples. You are the most incompetent batch of disciples this old man has ever led. Gu Changfeng, riding the black heart tiger, looked down from the clouds, finding these words strangely familiar. Only after the elder finished his entire speech did Gu Changfeng command the black heart tiger to reveal itself. The overwhelming imperial aura of the black heart tiger instantly descended upon the entire Xuanyi Peak. The peak master of Xuanyi Peak sensed this aura and immediately led the 7 elders of the martial monarch realm to welcome Gu Changfeng. Disciple Qin Li pays respects to the old ancestor. The crowd surged and knelt to the ground, kowtowing heavily before Gu Changfeng. The elder, who had been busy berating the students, finally regained his senses and hurried. Why are you all still standing there, dazed? Why have you not yet paid your respects to the ancestor? Seeing that the chore disciples remained motionless and indifferent, Qin Li hurriedly raised his voice and shouted. Only then did the 300 chore disciples awaken from their stupor and hurriedly perform the rites to pay homage to Gu Changfeng. Forgive them, ancestor. These disciples were recruited after the sacred grounds were rebuilt and were unaware of your arrival. I hope you will pardon their ignorance. The daily activities of the chore disciples were severely restricted, and furthermore Xuanyi Peak was situated on the remote outskirts of Tianji Immortal Abode. Gu Changfeng had also lived in relative seclusion, so these disciples had fundamentally no idea what he actually looked like. Even during the previous decisive battle between Gu Changfeng and Yi Fan, those at Xuanyi Peak could only see the distant sky illuminated in brilliant light, and could perceive nothing else. Gu Changfeng looked at Qin Li and asked, "Are you the peak master of Xuanyi Peak?" Reporting to the ancestor, this disciple was fortunate enough to win the selection for peak master, and I am currently serving in that capacity for Xuanyi Peak. Gu Changfeng nodded and gestured for him to rise. All elders and disciples of Xuanyi Peak stand up. Upon the martial arts training grounds, the 300 chore disciples heard Gu Changfeng's words and rose one after another. Qin Li stood respectfully beside Gu Changfeng, his heart filled with both excitement and anxiety. He was excited because the Tianji ancestor was a dignified great emperor, a figure who usually remained as elusive as a dragon in the clouds, yet today he had specifically visited Xuanyi Peak, a place that managed only chore disciples. He was anxious for the very same reason, fearing that the ancestor had come because he had failed in his duties as peak master. Gu Changfeng perceived his inner thoughts and said, "Peak Master Qin, there is no need to be so tense. I was merely passing by Xuanyi Peak today, when I happened to see an elder instructing his disciples, and feeling a sudden spark of interest, I decided to come and take a look." Gu Changfeng stood upon the training grounds with a stoic expression, his white robes fluttering, perfectly embodying the demeanor of a reclusive expert. After all, he could hardly admit that he had come specifically to test his martial arts against a few chore disciples. So that is how it is. The heart of Qin Li, which had been pounding with fearful trepidation, was immediately put at ease. Elder Wang Xing, who is responsible for the training of the handyman disciples, is truly quite strict. There is a saying that a strict master produces brilliant students. Elder Wang's philosophy is rooted in the belief that this discipline is ultimately for the student's own benefit. Gu Changfeng shook his head. He did not entirely subscribe to this perspective. At times, excessive severity can produce the opposite effect. Mounting pressure can cause disciples with weaker resilience to lose their confidence, eventually leading them down a path of self-abandonment. Therefore, to ensure that every disciple achieves greater success, one must prioritize the philosophy of tailored guidance according to individual talent. Everyone looked at one another, exchanging curious glances as they carefully contemplated these words from Gu Changfeng. Tailored guidance according to individual talent. Indeed, the Great Tao consists of 3,000 paths. Why must one remain obstinate to only a single way? In an instant, everyone present felt a sense of enlightenment, with Elder Wang in particular, experiencing a profound realization. Gu Changfeng's 4-character philosophy had bestowed upon him an entirely new approach to disciple cultivation, opening a vast unfamiliar door that he had never before dared to enter. I thank the Patriarch for his guidance. Ding. The host has successfully completed an act of imparting wisdom. Reputation points increased by 200. Gu Changfeng had not expected that a mere few words uttered at random could also yield an increase in reputation points. But for now, the most important task was to find a handyman disciple to spar with and experience the thrill of combat. Elder Wang, how many quotas are allocated for the outer sect disciple selection 1 month from now? Reporting to the Patriarch, this selection has been allocated a total of 10 spots for the outer sect. And what is the content of the examination? After 1 month, candidates will spar with the 10 lowest ranked outer sect disciples. The winners will be promoted to the outer sect. Very well. Gu Changfeng nodded, appearing quite satisfied with Wang Xing's response, before continuing to add another provision. If one spars with me, regardless of victory or defeat, they shall be granted entry into the outer sect. My black bead has been discovered. My black bead has been discovered. What? The Patriarch wants to spar with the handyman disciples. Qin Li and everyone else present thought their hearing had failed them. Gu Changfeng cleared his throat and spoke with gravity. I will suppress my cultivation to the martial spirit realm. So he intended to suppress his cultivation to the martial spirit realm. Yet, the elders remained perplexed as to why the Patriarch would suddenly wish to spar with these lowly handyman disciples. After all, among this batch of handyman disciples, there were no prodigies like the former Saint Sun Yang Lei, and even if there were, it would not be enough to warrant the personal attention of the Patriarch. The Peak Master turned his gaze, filled with suspicion, toward Qin Li. Qin Li sent a voice transmission, enough talk, follow the ancestors' instructions. As the Peak Master of Xuanyi Peak, even though he merely managed the servant disciples, he was, at the very least, a saint. His knowledge and perspective were surely far broader than that of ordinary elders at the Martial King realm. Therefore, according to his observations, the ancestor's sudden appearance at Xuanyi Peak today, and his proactive request to spar with the servant disciples, must have had some specific purpose in mind. It was simply that the ancestor found it inconvenient to voice it himself. It was quite possible that this matter involved some hidden secrets or classified intelligence regarding the Han Hai heavenly domain. Elder Wang stood upon the martial arts arena and loudly announced the news to the servant disciples. Upon hearing that an additional spot for promotion to outer disciple had been granted, and that they would be battling the Tianji ancestor while he suppressed his cultivation realm, the servant disciples were all overcome with excitement. To battle the ancestor, regardless of victory or defeat, would be a tale worthy of boasting for a lifetime. Do not lose your minds. Are you actually thinking of winning? You don't naively believe that just because the ancestor has suppressed his cultivation to the martial spirit realm, that you can actually compete with him on equal footing, do you? The ancestor's true cultivation is at the legendary Great Emperor level. Do you understand? His comprehension of cultivation techniques, his mastery over spiritual energy, and his insight into combat are not things that mere martial spirits like us could ever hope to rival. The disciples broke into a heated discussion, turning the entire arena into a chaotic and noisy scene. Silence. Under Elder Wang's strict supervision, order was immediately restored to the field. Gu Changfeng and Qin Li led 8 Martial King elders forward. The opponent for this trial will be chosen by the ancestor himself. Qin Li's words echoed in everyone's ears, and the disciples present were filled with intense nerves. Elder Wang retrieved a golden list from his spatial storage bag and presented it to Gu Changfeng. Ancestor, this is the ranking list of the servant disciples. Please take a look. In order to distinguish the strength of its disciples, the Tianji Immortal Mansion is divided into 3 total tiers: the mortal ranking, the earth ranking, and the heaven ranking. The list from Xuanyi Peak that Elder Wang produced is the mortal ranking. The Heaven Pride ranking calculates points based on the disciples' actual combat performance and cultivation level, ranking them from highest to lowest based on these scores, with updates occurring once every month. The higher a disciple is ranked, the greater the cultivation resources they receive each month. Naturally, Gu Changfeng was intimately familiar with such a system, because in the cultivation novels he had read, every sect utilized this motif to manage its disciples. He decided to select someone slightly weaker. Gu Changfeng opened the mortal ranking, his gaze sweeping rapidly across the top 2 positions. These individuals were all at the late stage of the martial spirit realm or higher, so he decisively bypassed them to avoid any unforeseen setbacks. He continued to scan further down the list until he reached the 63rd position, which was still occupied by a mid-stage martial spirit cultivator. He felt that even a mid-stage martial spirit might not be a guaranteed success, so he decided it would be better to choose a chores disciple at the early stage of the martial spirit realm to handle the task. After searching repeatedly, Gu Changfeng's gaze finally locked onto the 208th position on the list. This was because most of the chores disciples ranked even lower than that had not yet reached the martial spirit realm. Gu Changfeng circled the name, then handed the mortal ranking back to Elder Wang. Wang Qinli and Elder Dongdodao stared at the names circled by Gu Changfeng on the list, feeling utterly bewildered. They had originally assumed that even if the ancestor did not choose from the top 3, he would at least select from the top 10. Yet the current situation saw the ancestor choosing a name near the very bottom of the list. The elders gazed at the name Wang Lin, carefully recalling every instance of this disciple's performance since he joined Xuanyi Peak, but even racking their brains until they were on the verge of collapse. They could not fathom what was so remarkable about this disciple. To be precise, this Wang Lin was entirely unremarkable, so ordinary that he had only just broken through to the martial spirit realm a few days prior. However, since the ancestor had specifically requested him for the sparring match, it was clear that this person was far from simple. Elder Wang turned towards his disciples beneath the arena and shouted, "Where is Wang Lin?" In the second row from the back of the crowd, a youth with a common appearance, and nothing standing out about him felt his heart skip a beat. "Where is Wang Lin?" Seeing no one respond, Elder Wang called out once more in a booming voice. Wang Lin had no choice but to circulate his spiritual energy to manifest a layer of armor, stepping out from the crowd. All the remaining Chor disciples stared at him, unable to believe their eyes. Martial spirit initial stage. The Patriarch had actually chosen a disciple at only the initial stage of the martial spirit realm. I truly believe the Patriarch would select Senior Brother Li, who is ranked first. He is, after all, a half-step martial king. Senior Sister Zhao and Senior Brother Liu are both at the peak of the martial spirit realm and incredibly powerful. Why would the Patriarch insist on choosing this Wang Lin? This Wang Lin is truly fortunate. He has managed to enter the outer sect just like that. Tell me, Elder Wang also shares the surname Wang. Could he perhaps be a relative of the Elder? Amidst the whispers of the disciples, Wang Lin walked to the front rows of the martial arts arena, where he knelt to pay his respects to Gu Changfeng and Qin Li. Disciple Wang Lin pays his respects to the Patriarch. Peak Master Qin Li scrutinized Wang Lin meticulously from close range. He discovered that no matter how he observed him, the boy appeared entirely ordinary. Wang Lin, having the Patriarch spar with you is a stroke of great fortune and destiny. Later, put forth all your strength and fight with everything you have. How much you are able to comprehend depends entirely on your own innate talent. Disciple understands. Very well, you may rise. Wang Lin stood up and walked to the very center of the martial arts arena. Gu Changfeng stood towering before him. Although he did nothing, he caused Wang Lin to feel an immense sense of oppression. This was because he himself had already reached the martial king realm a full year ago. Li Wushuang, the top Chor disciple, was nowhere near being his match, yet this was not due to any exceptional innate talent. On the contrary, both his talent and his appearance were utterly mundane. The reason Wang Lin could cultivate to the martial king realm so rapidly was due to a small black bead hidden within his body. He could enter the bead to cultivate, where the passage of time was merely 1% of that in the outside world. In reality, he had been cultivating for many years, far longer than some of the elders within the Holy Land. Furthermore, as long as he kept the black bead hidden within his body, his true cultivation level would remain shrouded by a veil, making it fundamentally impossible for anyone to see through him, not even a saint like Qin Li. However, all these secrets had been seen through in their entirety by the Patriarch of the Tianji Immortal Mansion. At this moment, Qin Li and the 8 martial monarch elders ascended into the air, hovering high above and surveying the scene below. Elder Wang ordered the remaining Chor disciples to retreat to the perimeter of the martial arts arena. Disciples, this opportunity to witness a spar between the Patriarch and Wang Lin is extremely rare. You must watch the battle with total focus. Do not cause any clamor or disturbance. If you can comprehend even a fraction of this, it will be immensely beneficial for the selection trial 1 month from now. The disciples responded in a unified, resounding voice. Chapter 39. The Hongmeng Dao Treasure. Chapter 39. The Hongmeng Dao Treasure. On the martial arts arena, Gu Changfeng stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his posture perfectly poised. Wang Lin, in this match, there is no need for any restraint. Unleash all your techniques. Gu Changfeng commanded. Wang Lin touched the black bead hidden within his robes, hesitating as he asked, "Must I truly give my all, ancestor?" "Not only must you give your all, but you must reserve nothing." Wang Lin contemplated for a moment, before nodding. "Ancestor, this disciple understands." Having said this, he released the seal he had placed upon his own aura. The cultivation realm of a martial king, which he had long concealed, was fully revealed. Spiritual energy transformed into wings, the fundamental hallmark of a martial king. Above the arena, spiritual energy condensed into 9 pairs of pitch-black wings behind Wang Lin's back. His aura and power were entirely different from what they had been before. 9 pairs of spiritual wings. He actually possessed 9 pairs of spiritual wings. It turns out the ancestor had long known that Wang Lin was hiding his true strength. It is no wonder the ancestor personally singled out this disciple, who was ranked merely 208th. This is significantly stronger than Senior Brother Li, who currently holds the top rank, by a considerable margin. Wang Lin played his trump card, exposing his true cultivation base. The servant disciples observing from the sidelines were utterly terrified, and even the expression on Elder Wang's face was one of profound shock. This youth was not merely a martial king, he was a genuine first-grade martial king. The crowd understood that once one reaches the pinnacle of the martial spirit realm, the capacity of the Dantian reaches its first stage limit. To progress further, one must refine and temper the Dantian, causing it to undergo a qualitative transformation. This process is known as the Kaiyan transformation. Upon advancing to the martial king realm, one can typically achieve a maximum of 9 Cyan transformations of the Dantian. A single Cyan transformation is classified as the 9th grade, 2 transformations as the 8th grade, and so on. The 9 pairs of spiritual wings condensed behind Wang Lin's back signify that his Dantian underwent exactly 9 Cyan transformations, while he was at the peak of the martial spirit realm. 9 is the ultimate number for such a convergence. Therefore, a first-grade Cyan transformation is also hailed as the supreme grade. Even Qin Li, who currently possesses the cultivation of the Saint Realm, had only achieved 6 Cyan transformations. The former Saint's son, Yang Lei, once attempted to temper his green Dantian more than 100 times, while at the peak of the martial spirit realm, yet the final result was nothing but failure. This Wang Lin, however, clearly possesses the aura of a great emperor. This was the first thought that entered Qin Li's mind, and likewise, the first thought that crossed the minds of the elders present. According to the rules of the Holy Land, completing the 8th green transformation to reach the 2nd grade martial king realm qualifies one to be considered for the ranks of the reserve saint sons, granting them the privilege of having the Holy Land's entire reservoir of resources directed toward them. Yet this man named Wang Lin follows a path entirely contrary to expectation. He must be harboring a great secret, causing him to fear discovery by others. An elder at the martial monarch realm standing beside Qin Li remarked, "Elder Liu speaks with great wisdom. The methods Wang Lin uses to conceal his cultivation are such that even the peak master himself cannot see through them. He is certainly in possession of a profound fortuitous encounter." A female elder voiced her agreement, adding to his sentiment. Qin Li watched Wang Lin on the martial arena with a gaze of appreciation. While this individual possesses a great fortuitous encounter, he remains neither arrogant nor rash. His temperament is steady and composed. A disciple with such a disposition is unlikely to meet an untimely end. The elders all nodded in succession, signaling that Qin Li's words were reasonable as they scanned the entirety of the heavenly domain. There are countless individuals gifted with peerless talent, but those who can allow that talent to blossom and shine are as rare as phoenix feathers and Kylan horns, for the vast majority will stumble and fall midway due to countless reasons. Old ancestor, for you to personally step onto the Xuanyi Peak, it must surely be to offer some enlightenment to Wang Lin, is that not so? However, at this moment, Gu Changfeng, standing on the martial arena, was in a state of extreme panic. He had originally intended to randomly pick a martial spirit early-stage practitioner to simply complete the mission, never expecting that this man Wang Lin was actually a martial king. If this match were to proceed, Gu Changfeng surmised that a single strike would be enough to scatter his soul and shatter his body. Heavens, why are there so many deceitful schemers hidden in plain sight? Gu Changfeng felt utterly speechless, but as the old ancestor of the Tianji Immortal Mansion, when facing a mere errand-running disciple of the Holy Land, he certainly could not afford to lose in terms of presence and momentum. Therefore he maintained his stance, standing arrogantly and firmly upon the martial arena as his white robes billowed in the wind. Wang Lin bowed toward Gu Changfeng, then circulated his cultivation technique, preparing to strike. Wait. Seeing that he was preparing to strike, Gu Changfeng hurriedly shouted for him to stop. The elders of Yi Peak and all the miscellaneous disciples shifted their gazes toward Gu Changfeng. The sheer number of eyes fixed upon him caused Gu Changfeng to panic. Exposed, I must find a way to switch to a different opponent. His mind raced at lightning speed, and he quickly conceived a strategy. This method is known as the art of persuasion. Wang Lin, do you know why I chose you when I first began? Gu Changfeng's voice was steady, devoid of emotion, echoing throughout the silent martial arts arena. Upon hearing this, Wang Lin's body trembled slightly. He looked up, staring straight into the eyes of the ancestor before him, which were as deep as black holes. This foolish disciple asked for your guidance, ancestor. Gu Changfeng clasped his hands behind his back and slowly stepped toward Wang Lin. Each of his footsteps seemed to land in sync with the beating of Wang Lin's heart, carrying an indescribable, bewitching power. He stopped less than 3 feet from Wang Lin, the corners of his mouth curling into a faint, enigmatic smile. His gaze did not linger on the 9 pairs of majestic spiritual wings behind Wang Lin. Instead, it dropped, pinning itself firmly onto the chest area of his robe. Do you believe that I, the head of a sacred ground, would suppress my cultivation to the martial spirit realm? Truly just to spar with you, to test the strength of a first-grade martial king. Gu Changfeng spoke calmly. You are wrong, and you are profoundly wrong at that. What I sought to test was never your outward cultivation level, but your Tao heart, and more importantly, that small black object you keep hidden within your chest. As soon as these words were uttered, Wang Lin's pupils constricted violently, shrinking to the size of needlepoints. He felt as if he had been struck by lightning, cold sweat instantly drenching his inner garments. The greatest secret of his life, the very foundation that allowed him to rise from a disciple of mediocre talent to a hidden genius, The black orb capable of altering time had been seen through by the ancestor in a single glance. Old ancestor. His voice trembled, and the powerful aura of the 9 spiritual wings behind him suddenly became chaotic, flickering violently like a candle in a gale, using external objects to twist time, seizing a level of cultivation that surpasses your peers. It may appear glorious on the surface, but in reality, your Tao foundation is already rotting from within. Gu Changfeng's voice suddenly rose, carrying the booming resonance of the great Tao. Time is a ruthless, unending river. You attempt to take shortcuts to swim against its current, yet sooner or later, the tide of temporal taboo will consume you until not even your bones remain. You believe that your cultivation as a martial king makes you invincible among the Chore's disciples. But should you encounter a single strike imbued with the true laws of the great Tao, your fragile Tao heart would crumble in an instant. This seat asks you, if I were to strip away that orb, Wang Lin, what would you have left? Splurt. Unable to withstand this assault directed straight at his soul, Wang Lin opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of crimson blood. Gu Changfeng's words were like heavy hammers, ruthlessly shattering the facade of pride that Wang Lin had labored so hard to construct. The 9 pairs of spiritual wings behind his back instantly shattered into specks of light, dissolving into the void. He stumbled back a few paces, his gaze shifting from shock and fear to a sudden clear realization. Thud. This disciple, possessing the cultivation of a martial king, knelt firmly onto the cold stone floor of the martial arena, pressing his forehead to the ground. This disciple is narrow-minded. I relied on external objects and forgot the true intent of cultivation, nearly falling into the demonic path beyond redemption. I thank the ancestor for this sobering blow, akin to a heavy staff striking my head. This grace of rebirth is something this Wang Lin will never forget for the rest of his life. In this battle, this disciple is utterly convinced. I concede defeat. The entire arena fell into such a deep silence that the falling of a single needle could be heard. Qin Li and the 8 martial monarch elders standing in mid-air looked at one another, their eyes filled with the utmost reverence and awe. Without even raising a hand, he had used a mere few words to collapse the Tao heart of a first-rank martial king, and then effortlessly pulled him back from the precipice of error onto the righteous path. Is this truly the capability of a supreme transcendent master? Such a realm, such a vision, it is something they could never hope to reach. The ancestor is brilliant. The ancestor is divine. Over 3 million Chore's disciples knelt in unison, their voices thundering and shaking the very foundation of Xuanyi Peak. Gu Changfeng stood on the high platform, with his hands behind his back, his expression cold and devoid of emotion, yet his inner self was cheering wildly. Damn it, that nearly scared the life out of me. It was fortunate that I read so many Xianxia novels in my previous life. Using those pretentious, flowery bits of logic to intimidate him, it turns out that mouth-based cultivation is far more effective than using brute force. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully completing the side mission. Challenge the disciple. Evaluation. Complete submission. Achieved. Reward. Increased luck for the gacha draw. Upon hearing the system's voice, Gu Changfeng finally felt the weight lift from his heart. He flicked his sleeves nonchalantly and spoke. Since you have attained enlightenment, it proves your destiny is not yet severed. Withdraw now, and from this day forward, cultivate. The outer sect of the Immortal Manor still has a place for you. Having said that, Gu Changfeng stepped onto the back of the Blackheart Tiger, transforming into a streak of light that soared toward the Taihu Palace, leaving behind countless gazes filled with admiration and reverence. Returning to his bedchamber, Gu Changfeng immediately summoned the system to initiate the draw, and he was currently at the martial spirit realm, yet facing the terrifying threats soon to arrive from the 6 great clans. This meager cultivation was no different from that of an ant. He needed something capable of turning the tables and shifting the heavens. System, expend all 3 draw opportunities for me. Initiating the draw. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a true immortal cultivation experience card, valid for 1 hour. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a heavenly Tao sound transmission talisman. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the absolute counterattack defensive divine artifact, the infinity invisible cloak. Seeing the 3 rewards appear in his inventory, Gu Changfeng could not help but laugh heartily. A true immortal cultivation experience card. This was truly the ultimate tool for asserting dominance. A true immortal. Someone who transcends even the great emperor seeking Tao realm, a being that would crush all opposition within this Han-Hai heavenly domain. Combined with the infinity invisible cloak, which renders the wearer unseen, he would be effectively immortal and invincible against any attack for the duration of the effect. Thus Gu Changfeng sat serenely within the Taihu Palace, calmly waiting for the 1-month deadline to pass. Flowed like water, and in the blink of an eye the month had arrived. That day, the southern sky above the heavenly pole Immortal Manor, originally clear for 10,000 miles, suddenly manifested countless colossal interconnected spatial fissures. Dark clouds rolled in, obscuring the sun, plunging the entire 1,000-mile radius into a somber, gloomy darkness. Thunder rumbled, wuxs of intensity, accompanied by an overwhelming pressure descending from the heavens. Above the sky, 6 massive war vessels forged from gold and meteorites tore through the void, advancing slowly. Each vessel flew a grand banner inscribed with ancient characters, Xiao Wang, Chen Lin and Su. The 6 great clans of the Hanhai Heavenly Domain had clearly mobilized their most elite forces, dispatching a massive expeditionary army aimed directly at the Heavenly Pole Immortal Manor. Standing at the prow of the lead war vessel was the head of the Xiao family, Xiao Zhan, flanked by the grand elders of the other 5 families. Although they claimed to bring gifts to offer their apologies, yet this formation was clearly a calculated military deployment, aiming to raze the Tianji Immortal Abode to the ground. They had deliberated thoroughly. If the Tianji Old Ancestor were merely a fraud, or if his cultivation had not reached a level to warrant their fear, the 6 great clans would join forces to slaughter everyone here and seize the Dragon God's inheritance. The aura of over 20 great Emperor realm powerhouses, combined with hundreds of saints and tens of thousands of martial sovereigns and martial lords, coalesced into a destructive vortex, pressing down upon the defensive grand formation of the Tianji Immortal Abode. Xiaopo Jun, alongside all the elders and disciples of the Immortal Abode, stood upon the plaza, staring up at the darkened sky filled with enemies, their faces as pale as parchment. A formation of such terrifying magnitude was something even the first Emperor Palace would not dare to confront head-on. Is it true that the end has come for our Tianji Immortal Abode today? Xiaopo Jun muttered in despair. He knew the old ancestor was formidable, but when faced with the accumulated resources of the 6 great clans gathered over 1,000,000 years, even the strongest individual would struggle to withstand the combined assault of dozens of great emperors. Only the Hanhai Emperor, standing beside Xiaopo Jun, maintained a calm expression. She caressed her long sword and softly remarked, "These ants still have no idea what manner of terrifying existence they are provoking." In the sky, Xiao Zhan channeled his spiritual energy, his voice booming across the entire Tianji Immortal Abode. Gu Changfeng, out of respect for your status as a powerhouse in your own right, the 6 great clans have come today, bringing the Azure Treasure Gourd and immense resources to pay you a visit. If you obediently hand over Shuyan and share the Dragon God's inheritance with us. Considering our shared path, the 6 great clans will show mercy and grant the Tianji Immortal Abode a way out. Otherwise, not even a blade of grass shall remain here by today's end. His voice was dripping with extreme arrogance and coercion. The powerhouses of the 6 great clans standing upon the warships revealed savage smiles, as if they could already envision the Tianji Immortal Abode drenched in rivers of blood. Just then, a lazy yawn echoed from the summit of the Taishu Palace. Gu Changfeng, his hands tucked into his sleeves, stepped slowly out from the main hall. Beneath him, the black-hearted tiger let out a resonant roar, tearing through the firmament as it leapt into the void, soaring upward, and coming to a steady halt at the same altitude as the warship fleet of the 6 great clans. I gave you all 1 month to come here and confess your sins. Not only have you failed to repent and kowtow in submission, but you have also brought a swarm of trash here to flaunt your might. Gu Changfeng shook his head slightly, his gaze fixed on Xiao Zhan as if looking at a dead man. Truly, some people will not shed tears until they see the coffin. Xian narrowed his eyes, studying Gu Changfeng. He attempted to use his divine sense to probe the opponent's cultivation base, only to discover that Gu Changfeng appeared to possess nothing more than the aura of the martial spirit realm. Xiao Zhan burst into a manic deranged laugh. Ha ha ha. Gu Changfeng, stop playing the mysterious fool. We have already summoned the 9 nether divine mirror to bear witness. Your body holds absolutely no trace of a great emperor's Dao aura. You are merely relying on the might of that high-tier spirit beast and a few deceitful, arrogant tricks. Today, representing the 6 great families, I shall tear away your mask. Everyone, let us join forces to annihilate this wretch. Over 20 great emperors simultaneously unleashed the full extent of their pressure. The sky shifted, and the spiritual energy of heaven and earth surged into a frenzy. A kaleidoscope brilliant divine arts and imperial techniques converged into an ocean of destructive energy, roaring forward, aimed directly at the solitary small figure of Gu Changfeng. Below, Xiaopo Jun squeezed his eyes shut, unable to bear the sight of the patriarch being blasted into dust. Yet, Gu Changfeng remained motionless atop the back of the black-hearted tiger, his hands still leisurely tucked into his sleeves. At the very moment the massive ocean of energy drew within a few zhang of him, Gu Changfeng silently commanded the system to activate the true immortal cultivation experience card. While donning the infinity rope, a strange, deep, and ancient sound seemed to resonate from the very origin of the universe, echoing directly into the souls of every living being present in the Hanhai Heavenly Domain. The ocean of destructive energy, manifested by the combined power of over 20 great emperors, was like a snowflake falling into a furnace, instantly evaporating without a trace. There was no explosion, no shockwave, only a disappearance so silent it was terrifying. Immediately following, a celestial phenomenon manifested as the blackened sky was torn asunder from its center. Golden radiance cascaded from the void like a waterfall, washing the entire world in a brilliant gilded hue. Amidst the air, golden lotus flowers bloomed from the void, accompanied by the The laws of the Han Hai celestial domain began to tremble, seemingly forced to bow before a vast power that did not belong to this world. Gu Changfeng stood there, his robes fluttering violently in the wind. Surrounding him was no longer the meager aura of a martial spirit. It was a pressure that transcended everything a mortal could imagine, surpassing even the extreme limits of the great Emperor realm, like a falling galaxy cascading from the heavens. This was the might of an immortal, the true power of a celestial being. Crack! The defensive arrays of the 6 colossal warships were crushed by this pressure, spiderwebbing with countless fractures before exploding into fragments. Every cultivator of the 6 great families, from martial lords and martial sovereigns to sages, felt as if Mount Tai had descended upon their shoulders. They coughed up fresh blood in unison, their bones shattering under the strain, forced to kneel and grovel upon the decks of their ships. Even the 20-plus arrogant great emperors who once stood peerless now had their faces twisted in absolute terror. Their legs trembled uncontrollably, and even exhausting the spiritual energy in their dantian could not withstand the immortal might, crushing their very souls. Thud, 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 one by one, the great emperors could not help but buckle and sink to their knees. Cold sweat soaked through their robes entirely. What is this? This is not the power of the Emperor realm. Xiaozhan's eyes turned bloodshot as he knelt at the prow of the ship, looking up at the silhouette of Gu Changfeng, who was shrouded in golden holy light. His teeth chattered uncontrollably. An immortal. You are not a great emperor, you are an immortal descending upon the mortal realm. Gu Changfeng utilized the Heaven Dao sound transmission technique. His voice no longer held the volume of a mere man, but carried the judgment of the heavenly Dao, echoing like thunder within the minds of everyone present. I have said it before. Above the great emperor realm, I am invincible. Below the great emperor realm, you are not even worthy of me lifting a finger. Yet in your stupidity, you thought I was merely boasting? I originally only wished to live as an ordinary man, hidden away in my immortal abode. It is you who have forced me, time and again, to reveal my true methods. Gu Changfeng slowly withdrew his finger from his robe and pointed it gently toward the 6 great clans. There was no need to utilize the power to instantly slay an emperor. Relying solely on the formidable true immortal cultivation granted by the trial card was enough. As this single finger pointed forward, space for thousands of miles ahead instantly came to a standstill. The golden warship, heralded as the most impenetrable vessel in the heavenly domain, began to disintegrate into fine, shimmering dust under the crushing pressure of that single strike. Countless elite warriors of the 6 great clans were erased from existence before they could even emit a mournful cry. Only the 2 great emperors and the heads of the 6 great clans were spared by Gu Changfeng, leaving them with their wretched lives intact. They hung suspended in the air, a miserable sight, drenched in their own blood. Their cultivation had been entirely sealed. We were wrong. Immortal, please spare our lives. Xiao Zhan and the other emperors had now suffered a complete collapse of their Dao hearts. They kowtowed frantically in the void, their foreheads striking the air as if they were begging for mercy. Pitiful wails and cries for salvation echoed incessantly. They finally understood what it meant to be a mantis trying to stop a chariot, or a mayfly attempting to shake a massive tree. The 6 great clans had dominated the Han Hai heavenly domain for countless ages, yet today they had stumbled upon a living true immortal. Gu Changfeng let out a cold snort. Surrender your life souls. From this day forth, the entire 6 great clans shall serve as thralls to the Tianji immortal abode for generations to come. Anyone who dares to resist shall have their entire lineage exterminated, and their souls scattered to the winds. We, your servants, pay homage to our master. We swear to dedicate our lives and generations to the Tianji immortal abode. The 2 great emperors scrambled to extract their own life souls, presenting them with trembling hands before Gu Changfeng. They understood that becoming servants to a true immortal was no humiliation, but rather the greatest stroke of fortune in their entire lives. Below, at the Tianji immortal abode, Xiaopo Jun, Qin Li, and thousands of disciples stared in absolute stupefaction, their souls shaken to the core. After a brief, stunned silence, the entire mortal abode erupted in a deafening cheers. The Patriarch is invincible. The Patriarch is invincible. They were so moved they wept. Their immortal abode was being guided by a true immortal. At the same time, within Gu Changfeng's mind, the system notification board began to refresh frantically. Ding. Congratulations to the host for achieving the absolute submission of the 6 great clans. Your reputation has shaken the entire Han Hai heavenly domain. Reputation points plus 10,000. Ding. Reputation points plus 30,000. Ding. Reputation points plus 50,000. Ding. Reputation points plus 100,000. Ding. Congratulations to the host for accumulating 100,000 reputation points. The main quest, renowned throughout the North Sea, has been officially completed. The rewards for the true cultivation system have been unlocked, the failure penalties have been removed, and the host's innate ultimate cultivation base has been released. At the very moment the true immortal experience card expired, Gu Changfeng felt no sense of loss or emptiness despite the fading power. On the contrary, from the depths of his dantian, a vast and silver stream of true essence surged forth. generated endlessly by his own being. Every meridian throughout his body was opened wide, binding him tightly to the great Tao of heaven and earth. He could feel his power skyrocketing with frantic intensity. Ascending from the martial spirit realm into the martial king and martial ancestor realms, passing through the martial monarch realm, and shattering the barriers of the saint realm, he surged straight into the great emperor realm, finally coming to a rest at the absolute pinnacle of the Tao-seeking realm. This was no experience card, nor was it a system-granted prop. This was the true cultivation base that belonged to him alone. The shackles this world once held over him were completely shattered. Gu Changfeng stood with his hands clasped behind his back, high in the deep blue firmament, his white robes fluttering gently in the wind. He slowly descended into the courtyard of the Taishu sect, and the sky above returned to a state of clear serenity. The ruins of the 6 great families had been cleared away, and from this day forth, the entire Han-Hai heavenly domain would acknowledge only one sovereign. That power, inevitably, was the Tianji Immortal Palace. The Han-Hai Emperor had regained her stunning and exquisite appearance. She approached gently, carrying a jade tray, and softly poured a cup of tea, fragrant with spiritual energy for Gu Changfeng. "Senior, please partake in this tea." Gu Changfeng accepted the cup and smiled faintly, looking out over the endless landscape of the Han-Hai heavenly domain stretching out beneath the mountain. The long, treacherous journey, spent trembling in fear and relying on feigning the stature of an expert to survive, had finally come to an end. From this moment forward, he would no longer need to keep his hands hidden in his sleeves to pretend he was invincible. Because now he is truly a pinnacle existence. He stands above the myriad stars, his hand grasping the very heavens and the earth. The air